30th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Maria Aquina. If you live in the city of St. Louis and still have not had your street plowed, the city wants to hear from you.
I'm Megan Lynch.
St. Louis meets HBO.
I saw this thing, an app, DTF St. Louis.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Brisk and bitterly cold today with sun and clouds. The day will end cloudy, the high only 19.
The Blues find the win column. Illinois hoops stays there. But what about SLU tonight? I'm Brian Feldman. It's all straight ahead in sports at 6:15.
In CBS News, President Trump expected to announce his choice for the next Federal Reserve chair. At the tone, it's 6 o'clock.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We begin with breaking news from Washington. Moments ago, President Trump announced his choice for the next Federal Reserve chair.
The president has chosen former Fed official and conservative economist Kevin Warsh. Yesterday, he had said his choice would be
somebody that is very respected, somebody that's known to everybody in the financial world, and I think it's going to be a very good choice.
Trump lashed out at current Fed Chair Jerome Powell again this week over the Fed's recent slow and steady approach to interest rate cuts. Powell's term as chair ends in May, but he can remain on the Fed's Board of Governors until 2028. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Some hope of keeping the government fully operational amid demands for ICE reform. Correspondent Jared Hill.
24 or so hours, less than actually, before another government shutdown. The clock just doesn't work in the favor this time around. But this one has the potential to be much different in impact and much shorter than the last, as the Democrats in the White House say that they have struck a deal.
Lawmakers returned this morning for a possible vote. Now to the southeast, where the second storm in a week is set to slam states from Georgia on up to Washington, D.C. CBS News meteorologist Rob Marciano takes a look.
Blizzard conditions potentially along the Outer Banks, and then missing New York and much of the big cities, including Boston. But it looks like Eastern Mass will get clipped with this as well. As far as how much snow we expect to see, 6 to 12 inches in spots across North Carolina and Virginia. That's certainly possible, maybe more in some spots.
Power is still out to tens of thousands of people in Mississippi. Ripley Police Chief Kenny Childs.
It's been tough. I mean, no water has been tough. But we've helped people. We've been working on roads. We've been opening roads and just trying to do what we can do.
Cleanup crews are still struggling to get rid of mountains of snow on the streets of New York City and Washington, D.C. Israel has just announced it'll reopen Gaza's border crossing with Egypt in both directions over the weekend after the remains of the last Israeli hostage were recovered Monday. It'll allow Palestinians to enter and leave the territory after almost 2 years of closure. The Israeli military says the Rafah crossing will only be open to people. Egypt will help vet candidates. Saks Fifth Avenue has announced a new plan to dig itself out of bankruptcy by shutting down most of its discount stores.
60 off-Fifth stores in 5 last call locations will close, allowing the luxury retailer to focus on the original Saks Fifth Avenue and the more recently acquired Neiman Marcus and Bergdorf Goodman brands.
CBS's Jesse Mitchell. Dow futures are down 196. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to the official 48 Hours After Show post-mortem on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
At 6:03, we have clear skies, 6 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, January 30th. I'm Megan Lynch.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. St. Louis County Police are investigating a shooting in rural Florissant. It happened about 3:45 this morning in the 15,000 block of Old Jamestown Road. Fox 2 reporting that one person was injured.
Some parts of St. Louis City still posing a challenge for drivers following last weekend's snow. Our Maria Aquina made a visit looking for some of the bad spots.
If you're lucky enough to live in the Soulard neighborhood, Lafayette Square, Benton Park, those parts of South St. Louis, you're pretty clear as far as the roads go. Down to bare pavement, cars can park on the sides of the streets, and also cars can drive down the street, even 2 at a time. But other areas of the city have not been as well taken care of, such as the Baden neighborhood. Parts of North St. Louis are still snowpacked and snow covered, and this cold snap that we're going into, anything that melted will freeze right back over. In downtown St. Louis, Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
There appears to be a rift between the St. Louis Board of Police Commissioners and Mayor Kara Spencer.
The city is responsible under state law for the additional cost to pension benefits. I mentioned there's a pay parity issue with our fire department. There's a whole host of additional costs associated with this. In addition, the state of Missouri, some of our lawmakers over there are considering some bills that would add additional costs.
Spencer says the police board made this tentative agreement with the St. Louis Police Officers Association without consulting her. The board's president, Chris Saraceno, released a statement saying, in part, quote, late last night, which would be Wednesday, the city provided the SLMPD with an estimated $208 million budget allocation, which is slightly higher than initial projections. Importantly, the proposed 7% raise is within the existing police budget.
A Lutheran Church Missouri Synod official in central Illinois has been arrested on a child pornography charge and appeared in U.S. District Court in St. Louis yesterday. KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer reports.
The Reverend Michael W. Moore of Springfield, Illinois, is currently president of the Central Illinois District of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. A news release from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Missouri says the 54-year-old pastor was charged with one count of producing child pornography and will be held in jail until trial after waiving his right to a detention hearing. According to the news release, a court-approved search of Moore's home in Springfield allegedly found storage devices that contain videos of 3 juveniles in the bathroom and hidden cameras in a residence Moore used in Vandalia. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
KMOX News did reach out to officials with the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod headquarters in Kirkwood. They sent a statement which they said they were shocked at the arrest, will cooperate fully, and pray God's hand of justice and mercy will prevail for all affected by the situation.
A Department of Natural Resources helicopter crashed into the Merrimack River Thursday afternoon, but amazingly, no lives were lost. The aircraft went down in Franklin County around 1 p.m. Colonel Josh Campbell of the State Park Rangers says by the time help arrived, the victims were already out of the water.
All 4 members have minor injuries, thank goodness, and they self-rescued themselves out of the crashed helicopter.
The group was conducting an ecological survey when the aircraft reportedly struck a power line. All 4 are being treated for minor injury.
It's St. Louis-based TV, not filmed in St. Louis.
A new HBO limited series starring Jason Bateman and David Harbour is putting St. Louis in the spotlight, at least in name. DTF St. Louis debuts next month following 3 middle-aged adults whose lives spiral out of control after using a local hookup app.
You introduced him to DTF St. Louis. Your buddy's now dead.
I want to know more.
We always want to know more.
But you won't see any actual St. Louis streets in the background. The entire 7-episode series was shot in Atlanta. Those St. Louis boosters hope that trend will change. With Missouri's new SHOMO Act in effect, the state is offering millions in annual tax credits to lure productions back. The goal is to make it financially viable for the next DTF St. Louis or Ozark to actually spend its budget here in Missouri instead of exporting the work to Georgia. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Amtrak sent out a note overnight that today's passenger rail service between St. Louis and Chicago, specifically the Lincoln service trains 300 and 302, are canceled. Amtrak will be using buses to get passengers to their destinations, the company blaming lingering effects from last weekend's storm and equipment unavailability.
From the business desk, if you're dreaming of a tropical paradise but can't get there, the Missouri Botanical Garden might be able to help. The annual Orchid Show opens tomorrow at the Jack C. Taylor Center's Emerson Conservatory. The garden's vast orchid collection includes more than 5,000 individual plants with nearly 700 different types of orchids from Mediterranean climates from around the world. The Orchid Show included with admission and is free for members.
And it's warm in there. That's another advantage. It is 6:08. Speaking of warm, we're going to take a look at the cold forecast for this weekend and the traffic that's coming up next.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
This year, I'm giving my hair salon a total makeover.
Total makeover sounds totally expensive.
We updated our logo and colors, so I needed to print new signage, brochures, business cards, everything.
Everything will not be cheap.
Staples did it all, and I saved $100 on my order.
$100? Trim my whiskers, that's a good deal. For everything your business needs to print, let's go Staples.
That was easy.
Offer valid in-store and online. Ends 1/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEBNOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's now 6:10. Time for another check of the roads with Roger Brand. He's been watching that situation on northbound 270 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And unfortunately, there's still no change making with this crash. Up to 8 vehicles involved, and they said debris scattered across all lanes. So all lanes are currently shut down to this crash, North 270, about midway between Manchester and the Clayton Road overpass. They're talking about diverting the traffic off in Manchester. The jam goes back to almost Doherty Ferry right now. It's at a standstill, obviously, because the highway's closed north of Manchester. So if I were you, I'd be thinking about alternate routes. Come up 141 is probably the best one, since that's a little higher speed and fewer stoplighted intersections compared to Lindbergh. But the choice here is what you want to do. But currently, North 270 is still closed north of Manchester. And on the Illinois side, they're working that crash in the left lanes. It looks like they're getting it cleared westbound 5570 at Exchange, but traffic still jams approaching 2003 up to that trouble spot. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Times of sun and clouds today. Brisk and bitterly cold. The day will end cloudy. The high just 19. Mostly cloudy for a while tonight with a flurry or two. Then some clearing and bitterly cold late tonight, though 3. Tomorrow, sunshine and some clouds. A bitter cold breeze. The high 21. On Sunday, some sun followed by clouds and cold. There is a chance for a little snow or flurry activity around late in the day and early at night, especially north and east of the city. Sunday's high 29. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, it is partly cloudy and 9 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
The Blues find a way to snap that losing streak. We hear from head coach Jim Montgomery after the win over the Panthers. Sports coming up in 2 minutes.
It's 6:12. Charges filed in connection with Wednesday's gunfire at a funeral home in Ferguson. St. Louis County prosecutors accuse D'Angelo Taylor of Jennings of committing armed criminal action, unlawful possession of an illegal weapon, and unlawful use of a weapon.
Police arrested Taylor at a restaurant near Cotton Branch Mortuary where the shooting took place. They say he had a Glock handgun that had been altered with a switch to make it semi-automatic. 3 people were wounded by the shots fired. 2 were hit by flying glass, and a third was hit by a car as people tried leaving the scene. All of the injuries are said to be non-life-threatening.
The city of St. Louis touting a new home repair program that it says will expedite repairs.
It's going to allow us to scale much more efficiently moving forward. That is already underway, and we should see home repairs starting in March. I'm very excited about that because it will accelerate as we expand our contractor capacity.
The Private Property Assistance Program application is online. You can also go to City Hall in person or call. Mayor Kara Spencer says the city is asking every eligible property owner, family member, neighbor, and community partner to help spread the word and make sure no one misses the opportunity. The deadline to submit your application is February 14th.
Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway issuing a blunt warning to the owners of so-called gray market slot machines. If the legislature doesn't act, she will. Hanaway argues the video lottery terminals found in gas stations are illegal under current statutes.
While lawmakers debate whether to tax or ban the devices, Hanaway tells Fox 2 Capitol reporter Mark Zinn she's done waiting.
Hanaway says she's ready to act.
even referring these so-called gray machines to her office's Vice Squad.
Our purpose is to reduce violent crime in the state. Like, that's the number one thing. And some people may be saying to themselves, well, what does video lottery and hemp have to do with violent crime? Well, if you have lots of people making lots of money by essentially giving the middle finger to law enforcement by distributing these illegal products, eventually they start fighting over that money and it does become violent crime.
Hanaway says her office will enforce the law regardless of what the legislature decides to do this session.
Expect a rainy spring. AccuWeather's Paul Pastelok shares our long-range forecast.
Some rain events that come in March and April. Some of those rain events could get a little heavy as we start connecting to the Gulf. And on top of that, we're not looking for really widespread severe weather because it'll be cool and stable, but I do think there'll be some severe weather that will help with some flooding downpours.
Pastelok says a rainy spring could bring relief from drought conditions. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, nearly 90% of Missouri is abnormally dry. It is 6:15, and we'll take a closer look at your forecast coming up in 5 minutes.
Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman filling in for Tom Ackerman. The losing streak is over. It takes a goal from Jimmy Snuggerud with about 7 seconds left. But honestly, who cares? The Blues take down the Panthers 5-4 last night at Enterprise Center. That snaps a 5-game skid. It certainly was not easy. Matthew Tkachuk scores 2 goals in the second period, erasing Florida's 2-goal deficit. But after a scoreless third period for the first 19 minutes and 52 seconds or so, the Blues find the back of the net and bring home the W. Head coach Jim Montgomery on Snuggerud's game winner.
It's awesome for him to get rewarded because he's been shooting the puck a lot. And right before that, Gordon Kyrou hit their defenseman in the shin pad, very similar one-timer. It's good to see guys looking to shoot, looking to pound pucks.
Jordan Kyrou, the top star of the game with a goal and 2 assists, including the game winner. Just 1 day off the Blues before they get the Blue Jackets tomorrow night at home. College hoops make that 10 straight wins for the Illini. 9th-ranked Illinois takes down Washington, 75-66 in Champaign. Freshman guard Keaton Wagler scores a game-high 22 on 7 of 13 shooting. Fellow freshman David Mirkovic adds 19, and the Illini improved to 18-3, 9-1 in the Big Ten. Next up, they head on the road to number 5 Nebraska. Should be fun. That matchup Sunday at 3. Tonight, the 21st-ranked St. Louis University Billikens put their unbeaten conference record on the line against Dayton. SLU coming off a 3-point win over George Washington earlier in the week. Robbie Avila had to nail a tie-breaking 3 with just a few seconds left. The Flyers, 14-7 overall on the year, but have lost 3 straight games. Tip-off from Chaffetz Arena, 7 o'clock. You can catch the action, as always, right here on KMOX. Then on Saturday, Mizzou hosts Mississippi State in Columbia. The Tigers 14-7 on the year and even 4-4 in SEC play. On the women's side, the Billikens off until tomorrow when they host George Mason at 2. SLU 11-12 overall on the year, 5-5 in A10 play. On to baseball. January's just about over, and that means spring training right around the corner. The Cardinals head to Florida in a few short weeks. Pitchers and catchers report February 10th, with the first full squad workout coming less than a week after that. So we're about there. It's time for 2026. And while, yes, the Cards have traded away some pretty big names, Wilson Contreras, Sonny Gray, Nolan Arenado, there's a lot of talent still here, like Mason Wynn. KMOX caught up with the Gold Glove winning shortstop during the winter warm-up, and Wynn says he has all the faith in the world in what President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom is doing.
I think Mr. Bloom is doing a great job. I think, he's looking for the future, and, I don't know how long quote-unquote rebuild process is, but, I'm hoping I can stay here and be here long enough to reap the benefits. I think, what his plan is. You look at his track record, man. I mean, with the Rays, what they've been able to do, and also the Red Sox. I mean, that guy knows what he's doing, man. And I think, I'm just going to put my trust in him. And, obviously what he's doing works.
Wynn hit .253 last year with a .673 OPS. He will look to match his emerging offense with his stellar defense in 2026. And, with the subtraction, as we mentioned, of all the big names like Arenado and Gray and Contreras, if you're looking for a face of the Cardinals right now and maybe for the next couple of years, it's probably Mason Wynn. J.J. Weatherholt has all the ability in the world to become something like that. But for right now, for what Mason Wynn has done winning a Gold Glove and being the superstar that he can be, he's probably the face of the team for the foreseeable future. With reports at 15 and 45 past the hour, I'm Brian Feldman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball, KMOX.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Now, the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We still have some big issues on northbound 270 around Manchester this morning. Let's get the latest now from Roger Brand. He's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no change, Megan, which is bad news. North 270 north of Manchester, between there and the Clayton Road overpass, a multi-vehicle crash, up to 8 vehicles involved, and debris scattered all across the highway. So there's a solid jam back between Big Bend and Doherty Ferry now, and they're talking about diverting traffic off at Manchester. So just be advised that's you're not getting through on North 270, so you ought to plan for alternate routes. The alternate routes look fine right now, obviously close by. The ones would be Lindbergh and 141. I'd pick 141, especially if I was out to the west, because it's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit and there's limited signal interruptions compared to Lindbergh. But the choice is yours, but they both look fine right now as alternate routes. I'm not seeing any delays or backups. Then on the Illinois side, they're working to clear this crash, 5570 at Exchange. We still have a jam just to the east of 203 on westbound 5570 right now. So again, it hasn't gotten much worse. Just lighter volume on a Friday morning certainly helping both these situations. But again, North 270 remains closed north of Manchester. Next update at 6:30 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
It's going to be a brisk day today. We're going to have a mix of sun and clouds and a high of just 19 degrees, 3 overnight. And then tomorrow, more sun than clouds, but there'll be a biting cold wind. It'll be a high of 21 tomorrow. Maybe some snow or flurries on Sunday. Right now it's 9 degrees. Feels like 3 downtown.
The news continues at 6:22. A Troy, Illinois man is in trouble for threatening to kill ICE agents in Minnesota.
Federal prosecutors say 67-year-old Jeffrey Mullenix is charged with 1 count of interstate communication with a threat to injure. Mullenix commented on a YouTube video back on January 21st where court documents say he allegedly said he was on his way to Minneapolis with weapons, had a military background, and would take out at least 50 ICE agents there. Law enforcement interviewed him at his Troy home a day later and seized 2 rifles. FBI Springfield acting agent in charge Karen Marino says threats of violence against law enforcement are taken seriously. She says the statements made by Mullenix were not offhanded, but direct and specific. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
After the deaths in Minnesota, Democrats continue demanding the resignation of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and presidential advisor Stephen Miller. But Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt dismisses their outrage as a stunt.
It's ridiculous. There's some new cabinet person every week that they call for the resignation. It was Pete Hegseth a couple of weeks ago. Now it's Kristi Noem. Stephen Miller's doing great work. They're both doing important work right now for the country. That's not going to happen.
Schmidt telling Fox News the administration remains fully committed to the deportation operation despite political pressure.
Senator Dick Durbin says if local cops in Illinois have to wear body cameras, federal agents should as well. As the debate over Department of Homeland Security funding continues, Durbin is pushing for strict new rules for ICE. He tells CBS News that real reform means holding federal agents to the same standards as police officers in Chicago or Springfield.
Real reform basically is the end of the killing of innocent people in Minneapolis and across the nation. Secondly, to make sure that those ICE agents start being treated like other members of law enforcement professionals when it comes to their activity, their dress, their uniform, and the like.
Democrats voted yesterday to separate DHS funding from the rest of the budget to force a debate on these reforms.
A nationwide day of protest planned against ICE is underway after the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy by federal agents. Some stores, businesses, even some nonprofits are closed for the day. Erica Reif is with the Architecture Foundation of Oregon.
For us to be able to outwardly say, hey, AFO is an organization that is standing with you, that you can trust, is the most important thing to me.
A man arrested Wednesday for allegedly impersonating an FBI agent and trying to free Luigi Mangione from the Brooklyn jail where he's being held. That's according to federal court filings and a law enforcement source. More from CBS News New York reporter Dick Brennan.
In a criminal complaint, authorities say Mark Anderson showed up at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn last night, claiming to be an FBI agent. He said he had a court order to release a person we've learned to be Luigi Mangione. He was asked for credentials and allegedly showed a Minnesota driver's license and said he had weapons in his bag. They turned out to be a barbecue fork and what looks like a pizza cutter.
President Trump is suing the IRS and the Treasury Department for $10 billion.
The president claims those agencies illegally allowed an IRS contractor to leak his tax returns and the returns of his sons and the Trump Organization in 2020. The New York Times later reported Trump only paid $750 in federal income taxes in 2016. The lawsuit says the Trumps have suffered reputational and financial harm and public embarrassment, and their business reputations and public standing have been unfairly tarnished. In 2024, the IRS contractor who leaked the Trumps' tax records was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
It's 6:26. It's dog show season. Ever wonder why Border Collies usually win the agility contest at Westminster?
Since the Westminster Kennel Club introduced its Masters Agility Championship in 2014, emphasizing canine movement over appearance, Border Collies have sprinted, swerved, and soared past the competition. Last year's champion handler, Emily Klarman, explains why.
Them being able to bend over jumps and run over the dog walk is a little bit easier for them than maybe like a pug would be. So they're able to physically and mentally navigate through the course a little bit easier than some other dogs might be able to.
She's not competing this year. Her champion dog from last year, Vanish, is now pregnant, but she is still training other Border Collies like Swish.
Puppy, puppy.
The 150th Westminster Dog Show runs from January 31st, when the agility contest is held, to February 3rd, when Best in Show is crowned. Julie Walker, New York.
Right now, it is 6:27, and that time check is sponsored for you by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
St. Louis has a voice.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history.
This is Harry Carey from the beautiful new Busch Memorial Stadium.
From moment to memory.
Cardinal football on the move.
Among those voices, Bob Hamilton.
When I was in high school, I decided I wanted to go to radio.
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
January in St. Louis isn't for hot takes. It's for people who know the game. From Cardinals spring training and NFL playoffs to the transfer portal and the Blues playoff push, the Gas House Gang breaks it all down. Ackerman, Ranji, Miklas, and Claiborne have covered it all, and they break it down the right way.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Daily at noon on 104.1 FM KMOX, America's sports voice.
Partly cloudy skies, 5 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and this is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, a little bit better news on North 270, folks. They are letting the left lane through now, but one lane only getting through. It was closed earlier, so it's an improvement. Only one lane, though. North 270 between Manchester and the Clayton Road overpass where we had this earlier crash. Traffic's a solid jam between Big Bend and Doherty Ferry. Again, if you want to get off the highway, Doherty Ferry over to Carmen looks good. Northbound 141 is just getting a little busy at 44. Just a slowdown briefly at the interchange. Ballas looks good. Lindbergh looks good coming up Kirkwood Road into Lindbergh. I'm not seeing any issues on those alternate routes, so the choice is yours. But they are beginning to let traffic through, although it is only one lane. In downtown, we still have this crash on westbound 5570 at Exchange. Left lanes are blocked. Traffic's jammed almost midway between 111 and 203, but it's a little closer to 203, so it hasn't gotten a whole lot worse for you there. Other than that, we're just building some volume, so we're starting to see a little slow traffic approaching Highway P midway down to Wentzville Parkway on southbound 61. And if you're on northbound 55, we're getting a little slow now north of Bayless up to River to Pear. Otherwise, the rest of these interstates are looking good. But again, only left lane open right now, North 270, north of Manchester. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be brisk today, a mix of sun and clouds, a high just 19 tonight, mostly cloudy with some flurries possible, an overnight low of 3. Right now, we have 6 degrees with cloudy skies downtown at the Arch.
Unfortunately, putting the projected pay raises for other city workers in grave jeopardy at this point.
St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer on the St. Louis Police Board of Commissioners' approval of raises.
Mayor Spencer says this decision will prolong the much-needed raises for other city departments.
There was no fiscal note associated with any of this work, so we really are in the process right now of doing our due diligence of trying to quantify what this could cost.
Board of Police Commissioners President Chris Saraceno released a statement saying in part, quote, compensation for all SLMPD employees, both commissioned and professional staff, is a top priority for this board, contrary to other public statements. He goes on to say, after this tentative agreement is finalized, the board will work with the union representatives from our leadership team and our professional staff to address compensation in a thoughtful and equitable manner. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Mayor Spencer says the timeline for raises needs adjustment.
Amtrak sent out a note overnight that today's passenger rail service between St. Louis and Chicago, specifically the Lincoln Service Trains 300 and 302, are canceled. Amtrak will be using buses to get passengers to their destinations. The company blames lingering effects from last weekend's storm and equipment unavailability.
New work rules for federal food assistance, commonly called SNAP, starts this Sunday in Illinois.
The rules expand work requirements for adults without young dependents, requiring paid work, volunteering, or training for at least 80 hours a month. The same rules went into effect in Missouri at the beginning of November.
With the increased work requirements, there's an expectation that up to 150,000 Missourians could lose some or all of their benefits, and that's about 1 in 4 that are using SNAP benefits now.
Operation Food Search COO Carlton Adams tells KMOX's Total Information AM he expects a similar impact in Illinois Adams says they witnessed rising demand at food pantries at the end of last year. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has said the changes to benefit requirements are an effort to root out people taking advantage of the system.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute from Bloomberg is coming up next at 6:34.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
6:35, time for your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The Federal Reserve is in focus for Wall Street this morning. Sources are telling us the White House is prepared to nominate Kevin Warsh to be the next Federal Reserve chair. However, he is a pick investors see as less supportive of deep interest rate cuts. The former Fed governor has aligned himself with the president in recent months by arguing publicly for lower interest rates. S&P futures are down 58 points, Dow futures falling 380. Meantime, Amazon is said to be in talks to invest as much as $50 billion in the parent company of ChatGPT and expand an agreement that involves selling computing power to OpenAI. And discount retailer Saks Off Fifth will start to close nearly 3 dozen stores on Saturday. The clearance sales will aim to offload as much inventory as possible and will likely attract shoppers from all across the country looking for deals on high-end items. Its parent company, Saks, filed for bankruptcy earlier this month. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
KMOX, celebrating 100 years. Presented by Purina. Your pet, our passion. Now, a KMOX pioneer.
Known to listeners as the Big Bumper, Jim White turned KMOX's overnight hours into one of the most distinctive shows in American radio. Starting in 1969, his sharp wit, curiosity, and conversational style made late-night listeners feel like they were part of an exclusive club, where the phones never stopped ringing and the stories flowed freely.
I'm Jim White. I am that which goes bump in the night.
I'm kind of scared to say what I have to say. Okay.
No, I just hung up on the last guy because, never mind why I hung up on it. Monday through Friday, the night side, on KMOX, St. Louis.
Jim's warmth and personality created a loyal community that spanned decades, proving that even in the quietest hours, KMOX was alive, connected, and always listening. Jim White, a KMOX pioneer.
Hola, amigos. BetMGM tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, covers the biggest sports stories nationwide, live and interactive. From the build-up to the big game in Santa Clara to the road to March in college hoops. As the night's games are getting underway, we're following along for the stories that matter. Tap in. BetMGM tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, live and interactive, Monday through Friday night starting at 6 Eastern, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hey guys, it's Dave. You know that saying, new year, new you? Well, how about new year, new home upgrade? Right now, when you buy 4 windows from Universal Windows Direct, you get 4 free. That's one of the biggest offers they've ever done. And with 0% interest financing for 60 months, you can spread out your payments over 5 years, same as cash without a penny of interest. But there's more. You'll get $1,000 off your entire project, plus little something to look forward to, a vacation voucher through destination motivation with every purchase. Call 314-334-2522 or visit universalwindowsdirect.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
It's men's Billikens basketball action tonight as they take to the court to take on Dayton. Pre-game 6:45, tip at 7 on your home for Billikens basketball. KMOX.
Healthy eating. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 Seconds to Better Health. A new survey asked parents about food-related risks to their children. They found 2/3 of parents consider highly processed foods and obesity to be the biggest threat to their child's health. Fox News medical contributor Dr. Nicole Saphier.
I can tell you the people who do not believe it is a threat is because they do not understand. And so getting out in front of people and educating them on how much our diet and our sedentary lifestyle truly are contributing, not to just people being overweight, but being overweight causes us to be in a constant state of inflammation. That chronic inflammation is why we see metabolic syndrome, diabetes, autoimmune disease, cancer, dementia. Everything is related to our state of inflammation, obesity being one of the biggest culprits. And to really tackle the obesity epidemic, you have to tackle the food supply. And that starts with educating people about the dangers of our food supply.
With 60 Seconds to Better Health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
Let's get you a check of the roadways. Roger Brand is joining us at 6:40. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things are starting to get a little busier on the highways, but again, good news for northbound 270 travelers because this crash north of Manchester, they are letting the 2 left lanes by North 270 north of Manchester. It's still a solid jam, though, on North 270 all the way back to about Big Bend. As far as alternate routes, Kirkwood Road's getting a little busier in a couple of spots, and then there's a minor crash reported at Manchester and Kirkwood, and also Ballas Road is no good now, north of Manchester all the way up to Clayton Road. It's a solid jam, bumper to bumper on northbound Ballas. So that's the one you want to avoid. Northbound 141, a little busy at Valley Park, crossing the Merrimack through Elam up to Marshall, and just right approaching Manchester, a little heavy, but not terrible yet. So that's okay as an alternate route. Like I said, in Lindbergh, just a couple of busy spots. And we're still working this crash on westbound 5570 at Exchange. Traffic is jammed midway between 111 and 203. Northbound 55 Bayless up to River to Pear is a little slow. Out to the west, southbound 61, some slow traffic past Highway P, and they just cleared a stall eastbound 70 before Wentzville Parkway. Traffic slow at David Hochul Parkway up past that area. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
You'll need to bundle up over the weekend. Let's get the latest on the forecast with AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg.
And Megan, it is going to be very cold for the next 36 hours, really all the way to Sunday morning. Brisk and bitterly cold today. Sun and clouds. Day ends pretty cloudy with a high of 19. Weak disturbance could bring us a couple of flurries tonight. Otherwise, mostly cloudy early, then some clearing by morning with temperatures bottoming out at about 3 downtown at the Arch. Tomorrow, more sun than clouds. A biting cold breeze or highly 21. We start with some sun Sunday, then clouds increase, and there could be a touch of snow or flurries by day's end. Most of that passing to the north and east of the city. The high Sunday 29. We get a little reprieve from the cold early next week. With clouds and some sunshine on Monday, we warm to 37. Cloudy Tuesday, but there may be some snow, sleet, or even rain in the mix Tuesday, the high 35. Right now, it's 6 at St. Peter's, 5 in Florissant, partly cloudy, 10 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
The Blues get back in the win column, and you'll never believe who Earl Austin Jr. compared head coach Josh Schertz to. Head coach of the Billikens. Interesting. We'll have to hear about that. I'm Brian Feldman. Sports coming up at 6:45.
It's going on 6:43, and President Trump selecting former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh to be the next Fed Reserve Chair when Jerome Powell's term ends in May. And Trump made the announcement in a Truth Social posting, predicting Warsh will go down as one of the great Fed chairmen, maybe the best. On top of everything else, he is central casting and will never let you down. We get more from CBS's Jill Schlesinger.
He served on the Federal Reserve Board from 2006 to 2011. And that was, remember the time, during the financial crisis. At that time, it was very interesting. He was known to be a hawk. What does that mean? He likes interest rates high, which is contrary to what the president's talking about.
Democrats have made a deal with the White House that will avert a partial government shutdown by separating the appropriations bill that funds the Department of Homeland Security. Instead, that agency will be funded through a continuing resolution for 2 weeks while lawmakers negotiate over more permanent funding. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian has details on the compromise from the Capitol.
CBS News has learned that House Republicans have scheduled a conference call to go over this new funding plan that has gone through the Senate. It remains unclear if members will ultimately support this package. After all, the House has already passed all of the appropriations measures to fully fund the government through this fall, including the Department of Homeland Security.
The number of measles cases continues to grow in South Carolina. The state has confirmed nearly 800 cases so far since the outbreak began in October. Most of those infections are in people who haven't been vaccinated against the virus and are under the age of 17. CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. John LaPook explains what could happen to people after they contract the disease.
There's something called immune amnesia. So getting the measles naturally ends up dampening the immune system, not just to the measles, but to other things. It wipes out your memory for B cells and T cells to be able to deal with things that are like bacteria, other viruses.
A top U.S. track star and two-time Olympic medalist has been arrested.
Olympic sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson has been arrested and charged with speeding in Florida. Authorities say she was driving 104 miles per hour on a parkway near Orlando. A spokesperson for the Orange County Sheriff's Department says she was dangerously tailgating and weaving through traffic. Last year, she apologized to her boyfriend after being arrested for a domestic violence offense at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman filling in for Tom Ackerman. The Blues back in the win column. After losing 5 straight games, they defeat the Panthers 5-4 at Enterprise Center. Jimmy Snuggerud with a game winner late in the third period to clinch it. Florida's Matthew Tkachuk actually erased a 2-goal Blues lead by himself in the second period. Panthers were down 4-2, but Tkachuk tied it up 4-4. Was easily his best game after coming back from injury. The third period largely scoreless until about 7 seconds left. That's when Snuggerud lights the lamp and lifts the Blues to victory. After the game, head coach Jim Montgomery on the win.
The effort by our penalty killers was awesome. The response by our fans was awesome. And it gave us life. And then, obviously the power play came through at the end there after a lot of good puck movement. We finally got one shot to go through, and it was a big one by Snuggie.
Just a day off for the Blues before they get the Blue Jackets tomorrow night at home. College hoops make that 10 straight wins for the Illini. 9th-ranked Illinois takes down Washington 75-66 in Champaign. Freshman guard Keaton Wagler scores a game-high 22 on 7 of 13 shooting. Fellow freshman David Mirkovich adds 19, and the Illini improved to 18-3, 9-1 in the Big Ten. Next up, they head on the road to number 5 Nebraska. That matchup Sunday at 3. Tonight, the 21st-ranked St. Louis University Billikens put their unbeaten conference record on the line against Dayton. SLU coming off a tough 3-point win over George Washington earlier in the week. The Flyers 14-7, but have a 3-game losing streak coming in. KMOX talked to SLU analyst Earl Austin Jr. last night about what makes this Bills team so good. And one of the first people he mentions, head coach Josh Schertz.
When I was watching the aftermath of Indiana winning that national championship, and they had one of those experts say, Kirk Cignetti does 3 things. The way they evaluate talent, and they develop players, and they foster a winning culture. And I stood up in my bed and go, that sounds like somebody I know, and that's exactly what Josh does.
High praise from Earl comparing Schertz to Kurt Cignetti. Tip off from Chaffetz Arena, 7 o'clock tonight. You can catch the action as always right here on KMOX. Then on Saturday, Mizzou hosts Mississippi State in Columbia. The Tigers 14-7 on the year and even 4-4 in SEC play. On to baseball, the winter warm-up over. That means baseball season's just about here. Spring training for the Cardinals begins in just a few weeks, and it'll look awfully different. No Wilson Contreras, no Sonny Gray, no Nolan Arenado. Still TBD on whether Brendan Donovan will be around. But there's still games to be played and games to be won if they can find a way to do it. And that's the job of manager Ollie Marmol, who spoke to KMOX during the winter warm-up. Marmol says it was not easy saying goodbye to those vets.
These are guys that contributed at a high level, and I enjoyed having around, but we were clear as to what the goal was this offseason and what it was going to look like and how we were going to go about it in order to just allow our young guys to fill some of those spots and get an opportunity. So it was not by surprise, but at the same time, it was good to be able to have a conversation with those guys right after we made the decision, and some of the interactions were really, really good.
Pitchers and catchers report to Jupiter February 10th. With reports at 15 and 45 past the hour, I'm Brian Feldman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball, KMOX.
At Gray Bar, we know your time is money. That's why our services go beyond parts and products. With kitting, pre-assembly, wire carts, and Gray Bar smart reels that keep you moving. We stage materials and manage logistics so you can spend less time sorting and more time installing. And with locations nationwide, we deliver when and where you need it, working to make your job easier every step of the way. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Big game, big screen, big energy at Ballpark Village, Sunday, February 8th. Enjoy the big game like you're in the end zone, featuring in-arena touchdown celebrations, fan cams, contest VIP packages, and more, hosted by RDJ and DJ Dex. Save up to $10 on tickets with code KMOX. Tickets and event details at stlballparkvillage.com/events. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Now the news at 1 The Fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's see how things are rolling on the roads and if that situation on 270 has gotten any better. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it certainly has, Megan. They cleared the crash, so all lanes are back open now. That's great news. North 270 north of Manchester. North 270 is slow. Gravel way up to 44, and it's bumper to bumper approaching Big Bend most of the way up to Manchester, and then it clears out after that. Again, if you can avoid northbound Ballas, I do so. It's a solid jam from Manchester up to Clayton Road, and they're reporting a minor crash near Clayton Road, so that's part of the problem. 141, the heaviest part is running up from about Carmen Road up through Manchester, past Highlands Boulevard to like Clayworth, somewhere in there, Dutch Mill. Pretty heavy backup there, so you may just want to stick with the highway because it'll hopefully thin out pretty quickly. Northbound 55 has thinned out for the time being. No longer any slowdowns at River to Pear out to the west. Eastbound 70 looks good coming into Wentzville Parkway. Southbound 61 is cleared out coming down from Highway P. On the Illinois side, we still have this crash. It looks like they may have it mostly cleared 5570 Exchange because the jam now about midway from 111 to 203, but it's opening up at 203 now instead of Exchange, so it's looking a little better for you at that location. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather is going to be really cold all through the weekend. It's not really until Monday and Tuesday that we're back in the mid-30s. Today, a high of just 19 degrees with a brisk wind and sun and clouds. Maybe a flurry tonight, but an overnight low of 3. Tomorrow, a biting wind and a high of just 21. Currently, it is 9 degrees downtown.
More news now at 6:52. A Missouri lawmaker contends our kids could be more successful academically if they get more physical activity during the school day.
Republican Representative Bishop Davidson sponsoring a bill that would mandate 60 minutes of physical activity a day. Davidson says he's had multiple conversations with teachers' organizations about the benefits of getting students moving.
That it makes their job way easier when they have a brain that's ready to absorb the information they're teaching, which is what physical activity does. It's not like these things are disconnected. Our brain is actually a part of our body. And he said, but also on the behavioral front, which is a growing problem here across our Missouri schools.
Davidson says he's open to changes to his legislation to make it work best for schools, but wants to make sure physical activity is one of the top priorities for educators. He was a guest on Thursday's Total Information AM.
American skier Lindsey Vonn has crashed in her final downhill before the Olympics.
The 41-year-old Vonn lost control during the World Cup race in Switzerland and ended up tangled in the safety nets. She limped away, favoring her left knee, and was airlifted to a hospital. Vonn came back last season after a partial right knee titanium replacement. Last month, she said she was pain-free and ready for the Olympics.
I'm physically in possibly the best shape I've ever been in, which is fun.
Her first Olympic race, the downhill, is scheduled for February 8th. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Former Chicago Blackhawk Patrick Kane is now the highest-scoring U.S.-born player in National Hockey League history with 1,375 points.
It happened last night in the Detroit Red Wings game against the Washington Capitals. Kane passed the puck from the boards to Alex DeBrincat in the left circle, and DeBrincat set up Ben Sherratt for a tying goal from the point midway through the second period, seen on ESPN.
There it is! History in Detroit! 1375 for Patrick Kane.
And with that, Kane passed Mike Modano, who held the high-scoring record for 18-plus years. Michael Toscano, CBS News.
Nearly 40 years after founding the Jazz at Lincoln Center, Wynton Marsalis plans to step down at the end of this season. Marsalis is a member of the Sheldon Advisory Board here locally. The Sheldon's executive director, Peter Palermo, says the Sheldon has been Marsalis and the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra's home away from home with many memorable concerts and educational events. He says the Sheldon is proud to have played a part in Wynton's incredible legacy, bringing the very best of jazz to music lovers throughout the St. Louis area.
It is 6:54.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Today's KMOX birthday shout-out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family-owned and top-rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Celebrity birthdays for this Friday, January 30th, include this singer. And we really should say musician, because obviously he was a drummer as well. Phil Collins, 75 years old today. Golf Hall of Famer Curtis Strange is 71. Actor Ann Dowd of The Handmaid's Tale is 70. And actress Olivia Colman, 52.
Local celebrity birthdays include Patrick Sylvia from The Life Group, Barbara Jordan, Stacey Snyders, Janet Backley, Jacob Red, and Larry White from The Lads.
This is the best birthday ever.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
This is an important message for all parents of teens. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to social media sites such as Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, or YouTube, and they have suffered from eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Disclosures by a Facebook whistleblower show Instagram and Facebook know their social media platforms were highly addictive and may have caused eating disorders, body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation. It appears these social media companies knew they had been causing serious harm to kids, but have done little to stop it. If your teen has been harmed by social media like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, or YouTube, then you could be eligible for significant compensation. If you'd like to discuss a lawsuit, text LEVEL to 323232, LEVEL to 323232, LEVEL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson, Media Advertising Specialists, LLC, is responsible for the content of this ad with principal offices in Chicago, Illinois.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo, January 30th through February 1st at St. Charles Convention Center. Buy big brands with Pro-Am Golf, test your skills, and win prizes while they last. VIP tickets at STLGolfExpo.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for Your Retirement Highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Presenting Again Fling's love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Save more on the brands pros trust at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances and choose from our wide lineup of top brands. Plus, save $100 on a Little Giant 22-foot multi-position ladder. Now just $189. Built for strength, flexibility, and job site versatility. Pros, these savings will only be here for a limited time. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 1/30 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Let's get you caught up on your ride in with Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, just when you think you're out of the woods, North 270, they cleared that crash, but midway between Manchester and Clayton Road, all lanes were open. Now we have looks to me like a stall in the left lane, northbound 270. near the J.J. Kelley Memorial Overpass. So it's North 270, just a little north of Manchester. So now the left lane shut down for a stall. MoDOT or police not on the scene yet. It's a solid jam north of 44, pretty much all the way up to that. As an alternate route, northbound 141. Big Bend up through most of the way past at least Carmen is backed up. Then there's some slow stuff north of there up toward Dutch Mill and Ballas. Avoid Ballas northbound. It's a complete jam from Manchester all the way up to Clayton Road. Again, they cleared that crash on 5570 at Exchange. Just a little slow at 203 and a little slow after that across the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This is Friday, January 30th. I'm Megan Lynch. These are the stories making news.
If you work for the city of St. Louis and we're expecting a raise next month, I'm Maria Kina with a revised timeline.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, a leading official with the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod in Central Illinois facing federal sex crime charges. Reaction from the Kirkwood-based denomination after CBS News.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Times of sun and clouds, brisk and bitterly cold today. The high just 19.
Big win for the Blues last night. What's head coach Jim Montgomery have to say about it? I'm Brian Feldman. Sports at 7:15.
Stay with us for CBS News. President Trump names his pick for the next Federal Reserve chair, and we'll get you an update on your ride into work from Roger Brand coming up in 10 minutes here on KMOX.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. He passed him over almost a decade ago. This time, President Trump says he'll nominate former Reserve official Kevin Warsh to replace Jerome Powell as head of the Fed. The president made his announcement last hour. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
He is a guy who has been saying that interest rates must come down. He's pro-deregulation, he's pro-tariffs, and he has been very critical of the Fed's handling of that building renovation. That is what has triggered the Department of Justice's investigation into Jerome Powell and to the Fed itself.
Mr. Trump chose Powell over Warsh to head the Fed in 2017. Powell's term expires in May. On Capitol Hill,
Senate stands adjourned.
Lawmakers went home for the night after Democrats came to an agreement with the Trump administration to keep funding the federal government, but they haven't voted on it yet. If it doesn't go through, it could trigger a partial shutdown at midnight. Correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns.
The Senate is going to vote on 5 bills that would fund most of the federal government through September, while voting for just a 2-week extension for the Department of Homeland Security. And this is going to be enough to buy them time to negotiate over policies related to immigration enforcement.
Today is National Day of Protest after nurse Alex Preddy's death at the hands of federal agents in Minneapolis Saturday. Oakland, California's Democratic Mayor Barbara Lees issued 2 executive orders aimed at keeping immigration and customs away.
This is about families who should feel safe taking their kids to school, workers who should feel safe going to their jobs, neighbors who should feel safe in their own city.
Just what people in the Southeast don't need, a second winter storm. Meteorologist Craig Allen.
By Saturday, moderate to heavy snow will be falling across northern portions of Georgia, North and South Carolina, on up through southern sections of Virginia. Now, it will fall just short of the Washington, D.C., Baltimore region. Most of the heavy snow will stay south.
Luigi Mangione will be back at court in New York City a day after a man who identified himself as an FBI agent went to his jail and claimed he had a court order for Mangione's release. Police say the guy's been arrested and charged with impersonating a federal officer. Legal contributor Caroline Polisi.
The fact that this individual went to such great lengths, I think, does speak to sort of this larger movement behind Mangione.
Police say he had a barbecue fork and what looked like a pizza cutter. Mangione is accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to CBS News Roundup on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Piera Palazzolo,
VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW-1 for a free digital consultation with American Eagle.
At 7:04, it looks like we've got 2 below downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, January 30th. I'm Megan Lynch.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer expressing concerns with the St. Louis Board of Police Commissioners making a tentative agreement with the St. Louis Police Officers Association on pay increases.
Spencer says the Board of Police Commissioners made a decision for the raises without having an estimate of the cost.
One of the critical pieces here that while the police commission is maybe fitting this in their budget, there are resulting in residual massive increases to pension costs, the pay parity with our fire department, and a whole host of other considerations that were completely ignored in this process.
And Spencer says this is putting raises for other city workers in grave jeopardy. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The city's new street department director has been put to the test with the latest large snowfall. While several side streets and secondary roads still need cleaning, James Jackson says he knows what Mayor Spencer expects of him.
They placed a large amount of faith in me. We do not make promises that we do not keep. And I have been tremendously pleased with what I have seen from my team. At 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, it's hard to sleep when your people are up.
If you live in the city and your street is not plowed yet, notify the Citizen Service Bureau. They want to know which areas still need attention. Crews are aware there are several areas still in need of plowing.
A Lutheran church official from Illinois has been arrested on a child pornography charge and yesterday appeared in U.S. District Court in St. Louis. We get more from KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer.
The Reverend Michael W. Moore of Springfield, Illinois, is currently president of the Central Illinois District of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. A news release from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Missouri says the 54-year-old pastor was charged with 1 count of producing child pornography and will be held in jail until trial after waiving his right to a detention hearing. According to the news release, a court-approved search of Moore's home in Springfield allegedly found storage devices that contain videos of 3 juveniles in the bathroom and hidden cameras in a residence Moore used in Vandalia. The FBI St. Louis office and St. Louis County Police investigated the case with the assistance of the FBI office in Springfield and the Vandalia Police Department. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A statement from the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod headquarters in Kirkwood says they were shocked and dismayed to learn about the arrest and they will fully cooperate with law enforcement.
From the KMOX Business Desk, traffic at St. Louis Lambert International Airport dropped 4% last year compared to the year before. Airport Director Rhonda Homnebergy says the first half of 2025 was weaker than the year before, which saw a big bump of people enjoying post-COVID travel.
She adds that both business and discretionary spenders were holding back a bit due to the uncertainty of the economy. Lambert counted 15.3 million passengers in 2025.
We'll get a check of the forecast and the roads coming up in 2 minutes. It's 7:07.
I dared Archwell Health to keep track of my vitals and my grandkids' names.
I dared Archwell Health to simplify my prescriptions, so Max and I have more time to play. Good boy.
And I dared Archwell Health to be closer than my neighborhood coffee shop.
Our members dared us to do more as a primary care provider for adults age 60 and up. So we made it our mission. Visit archwellhealth.com and become a member today. Archwell Health. We dare to care.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. It's a great time to buy a brand new home, and Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon is taking shape. We've got our first foundations in the ground, and our display home will be opening soon. This community features walking trails, a beautiful lake, a berry patch honoring the land's history, a private playground, and Fort Zumwalt schools. It's a fresh start in a great location. Visit McKelveyHomes.com to schedule your tour of Strawberry Farms. It's time to move up to McKelvey.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
This year, I'm giving my hair salon a total makeover.
Total makeover sounds totally expensive.
We updated our logo and colors, so I needed to print new signage, brochures, business cards, everything.
Everything. Not
Staples did it all, and I saved $100 on my order.
$100? Trim my whiskers, that's a good deal. For everything your business needs to print, let's go Staples.
That was easy.
Offer valid in-store and online. Ends 1/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:09. Let's get you a check of traffic and weather here on Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Megan Lynch and Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, finally, good news, Debbie. Everything's pretty much completely behind us on northbound 270. They cleared that stall I mentioned at the top of the hour north of Manchester. So right now what we're looking at is just a backup between Big Bend and Manchester on northbound 270. Northbound Kirkwood Road's backed up approaching Manchester in Kirkwood right now. It's not even backed up to Essex, maybe midway up from Essex. Northbound Ballas, I'd still avoid that. That's still a solid jam from Manchester up to Clayton Road. We had an earlier crash there. I believe the crash has been cleared. Northbound 141, not bad down south. There's a little volume. Manchester up through like Dutch Mill and Clayton Road up to 64, some backed up traffic. Vehicle into the median, westbound 70, just west of 5th Street, doesn't seem to be bothering anybody there. North 55, just a little slowdown at Weber. And on the Illinois side, everything's back to normal on 5570 coming through 111 and 203. That crash past Exchange was cleared like 645, 650, something like that. They're working with a crash. It sounds minor. A tractor trailer involved. It's on the ramp from 111 on the westbound 64. So restrictions on that ramp, but not impacting westbound 64 at all. It looks great headed across the bridges. Next update at 720 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather brisk and bitterly cold with times of sun and clouds today, though the day will end cloudy. The high is 19. Mostly cloudy early tonight with a flurry. Some clearing and frigid late tonight down to 3. Tomorrow, more sun and clouds, a biting cold breeze and a high of 21. Sunday, some sun giving way to clouds and cold. There could be a bit of snow or flurries around during the late afternoon and evening hours, especially north and east of the city. Sunday's high 29. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Well, it seems like the temperatures are bobbing up and down, but right now we have 5 degrees in Florissant, 4 degrees in St. Peters, and 6 downtown at the Arch.
Big win for the Blues last night. They snap a 5-game losing streak. We'll hear from head coach Jim Montgomery. I'm Brian Feldman. Sports coming up at 7:15.
It is 7:11 now, and it's a busy time of year for St. Louis City firefighters. There have been at least 3 structure fires since Thursday afternoon and one overnight, early Friday morning. Crews rescued a person from the top floor of what they thought was a vacant 3-story apartment building in the 3900 block of South Grand. EMS took that person to a hospital for treatment of non-life-threatening injuries.
Around 2 this morning, there were flames shooting from the second floor of a vacant building in the 4400 block of Farland. There had already been a fire there, and it was deemed unsafe for crews to enter. Then the fire happened Thursday afternoon in the 1800 block of Carr. Occupants were able to escape safely.
A state ecological survey ended in disaster Thursday afternoon when a helicopter crashed into the Merrimack River. Authorities say the chopper, which was carrying a team from the Department of Natural Resources, went down after reportedly striking a power line. Colonel Josh Campbell, chief of the Missouri State Park Rangers, describes the initial call.
About 1 o'clock this afternoon, we were notified of a helicopter going down in Merrimack State Park here in Franklin County, Missouri. There were 3 team members from Missouri DNR on site or on this helicopter with the pilot, who was a contract pilot.
Emergency teams rushed to the scene near Sullivan, but all 4 occupants had already managed to escape the wreckage.
Former Central Illinois Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson has been given a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison for the death of Sonia Massey. Massey killed in her home after she called 911. CBS's Jerika Duncan reports.
Holding a pot of what Grayson believed was hot water, some of Massey's final words were, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." Grayson responded with, "You better effing not. I swear to God, I'll effing shoot you right in your effing face." And he did. Grayson, who now has cancer, said, "I was very unprofessional that night," and went on to say, "I'm sorry. I wish there was something I could do to bring her back."
Hey, St. Louis, are you DTF?
HBO released the trailer for DTF St. Louis, a dark comedy series that premieres March 1st. It centers on a dangerous love triangle in our suburbs.
I saw this thing, an app, DTF St. Louis.
But while the title and the story are firmly planted in the gateway city, the production itself was not.
You meet these people so you can spice up your life. You know, spice it up.
What's DTF?
Down to...
Whoa. Despite the local setting, DTF St. Louis was filmed entirely in Atlanta. Like Jason Bateman's previous Missouri-based hit Ozark, this series used Georgia as a stand-in for the Midwest to take advantage of that state's robust film infrastructure. However, future productions might actually stay home. Missouri lawmakers recently passed the SHOMO Act, incentives designed specifically to stop St. Louis stories from getting shot on Atlanta sound stages. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
I'm Brian Feldman filling in for Tom Ackerman. The losing streak is over, folks. It takes a goal from Jimmy Snuggerud with about 7 seconds left, but honestly, who cares? The Blues take down the Panthers 5-4 last night at Enterprise Center. That snaps a 5-game skid. Certainly wasn't easy. Matthew Tkachuk scores 2 goals in the second period. That erases Florida's 2-goal deficit. But after a scoreless third period for the first 19 minutes and 52 or whatever seconds, the Blues find the back of the net and bring home the W. Head coach Jim Montgomery on Snuggerud's game winner.
It's awesome for him to get rewarded because he's been shooting the puck a lot. And right before that, Gordon Kyrou hit their defenseman in the shin pad, very similar one-timer. It's good to see guys looking to shoot, looking to pound pucks.
Jordan Kyrou, the top star of the game with a goal and 2 assists, including the game winner. Just a day off for the Blues before they get the Blue Jackets tomorrow night at home. College hoops make that 10 straight wins for the Illini. 9th-ranked Illinois takes down Washington 75-66 last night in Champaign. Freshman guard Keaton Wagler scores a game-high 22 on 7-13 shooting. Fellow freshman David Mirkovich adds 19. And the Illini improved to 18-3, 9-1 in the Big Ten. Next up, they head on the road to number 5 Nebraska. That matchup Sunday. Tip-off at 3. Tonight, the 21st-ranked St. Louis University Billikens put their unbeaten conference record on the line against Dayton. SLU coming off a tough 3-point win over George Washington earlier this week. Robbie Avila had to make a tie-breaking 3 with just a few seconds left to win it. The Flyers 14-7 this year, but on the verge or on the midst of a 3-game losing streak. Tip-off from Chaffetz Arena, 7 o'clock. You can catch the action, as always, right here on KMOX. Then on Saturday, Mizzou hosts Mississippi State in Columbia. The Tigers 14-7 on the year and even 4-4 in SEC play. On the women's side, the Billikens off until tomorrow when they host George Mason at 2. SLU 11-12 this season, 5-5 in A-10 play. On to baseball, January's just about over, and that means spring training right around the corner. The Cardinals head to Florida in just a few short weeks. Pitchers and catchers report February 10th, the first full squad workout coming less than a week after that. So we are there. It is time for 2026. And while, yes, the Cards have traded away some really big names, Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras, Nolan Arenado, there is still a lot of talent still here, like Mason Wynn. KMOX caught up with the Gold Glove winning shortstop during the winter warm-up, and Wynn says he has all the faith in the world in what President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom is doing.
I think Mr. Bloom is doing a great job. I think, he's looking for the future, and, I don't know how long a quote-unquote rebuild process is, but I'm hoping I can stay here and be here long enough to reap the benefits. I think, what his plan is. You look at his track record, man. I mean, with the Rays, what they've been able to do, and also the Red Sox. I mean, that guy knows what he's doing, man. And I think, I'm just going to put my trust in him and Obviously what he's doing works.
Wynn hit 253 last year with a 673 OPS. He will look to match his emerging offense with his stellar defense in 2026. And if you are looking for a face of the franchise right now with the departure of all those big names like we mentioned, Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras, Nolan Arenado, maybe even Brendan Donovan possibly at some point in the next few weeks, Mason Wynn is very possibly it. J.J. Weatherholt's a really big talent coming along, but Mason Wynn is here. He has won a Gold Glove, and he's got that personality and that talent where he could be the face of the franchise for a long, long time. With reports at 15 and 45 past the hour, I'm Brian Feldman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball, KMOX.
John Pertzborn here, and I've come to respect the good works of Hardy's Rise and Shine for Heat benefit, supporting heatupstlouis.org, where 100% of the proceeds help families and seniors with Missouri and Illinois utilities. It's Friday, February 13th, your lucky day. Volunteer now or pre-order sacks of sausage or egg biscuits only at heatupstlouis.org. Put the biscuits down, gentry.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
7:20, time for another check of the roads. Let's see if we can get you to work safely. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's not too bad on a Friday. I mean, we started off rough, Megan, obviously, but things are in better shape now as you're making your way out and about. Northbound 270 is still busy, obviously, but the problem was we had a crash and then a stall at Manchester, north of Manchester. Now it's just slow Doherty Ferry up to Manchester and a couple of spots north of there up to 64. South 270, they just cleared a stall over to the, I think it looks like it's on the shoulder. It's at the Olive exit. Traffic's light enough. It's not causing any delays on South 270. Southbound 61 onto eastbound 64 or eastbound 70. Both look great coming across the Missouri River bridges. Northbound 55, we had a minor crash at Weber Road. They cleared it. It's a solid jam from Bayless to Weber, but then it starts picking up the pace after that. Headed across the river to Pear. Downtown, we just have a little slowdown. Westbound 64 on the Poplar Street Bridge. Don't forget, we also have that crash on the ramp from 111 onto westbound 64. And again, if you're thinking about using Ballast Road, it's still pretty much a solid jam from Manchester all the way up to Clayton Road. So I'd think about a different route if that's normally your route of travel. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather is going to just be very, very chilly until we head back towards the mid-30s by Monday and Tuesday. Today, we'll see some sun with clouds. It'll be a brisk wind, a high of just 19 degrees. We could see a flurry tonight and an overnight low of 3, then just a biting cold wind tomorrow with a high of 21. Currently, it is in downtown St. Louis, 8 degrees. It feels like 3.
The news continues at 7:21. Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway warning gas station owners that their video lottery machines could soon be seized. Hanaway tells our partners at Fox 2 and Missouri Capitol reporter Mark Zinn that if the legislature doesn't pass a bill to regulate or ban the devices, which have a similar appearance to slot machines, her office will take action under current law.
It is something that we have to enforce and local prosecutors need to enforce.
So could we expect those things to be seized at some point if the legislature doesn't take action?
Yeah, you could.
Hanaway says as of now, the Missouri Gaming Commission does not have the authority to touch those machines.
Researchers have come up with a new way to assess future dementia concerns. Pay close attention to how an older person drives. KMOX editor, health editor Fred Bottomer has more.
A new study suggests the driving habits of older adults can reveal early warning signs of dementia. Researchers tracked the driving habits of hundreds of drivers ages 65 and older for several years. Those who started braking harder or getting in accidents were more likely to develop white matter damage in the back of the brain, an early warning sign of cognitive decline. Study co-author Dr. Chia-Ling Hua.
The way that older adults drive can quietly reflect what's happening in their brain long before any major memory problems appear.
The study also found drivers who were taking blood pressure medications were less likely to show unsafe driving behaviors. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A new survey explains why youth sports coaches are quitting. Here's a hint. It's not because of the kids.
The U.S. Center for Safe Sport paints a troubling picture about the future of youth sports. A new survey finds the majority of youth sport coaches are calling it quits because they're tired of dealing with unruly parents of athletes, simply fed up with the verbal harassment and abuse from mom and dad. More than 35% of respondents also say they've experienced discrimination based on sex, age, and physical appearance from parents. Many youth sports coaches are suddenly asking the question, do the hassles outweigh the joys of the job? Erica Herskowitz for CBS News.
Last call for Saks Off Fifth. The discount chain is closing its more than 50 stores as part of its parent company's recent bankruptcy filing. We get more from CBS's Jesse Mitchell.
Saks still hopes to dig itself out of bankruptcy by shuttering most of its sales-friendly sites. 60 Off Fifth stores in 5 last call locations will close, allowing the luxury retailer to focus on the original Saks Fifth Avenue and the more recently acquired Neiman Marcus and Bergdorf Goodman brands.
A much talked about actress is walking away from a part.
She stirred up a lot of interest in her role opposite Timothée Chalamet and Marty Supreme.
Have you ever thought about what you're doing to me?
Just 2 days after her involvement was announced, newcomer Odessa Azayan is dropping out of a new film project. The 25-year-old says she gets the claims of whitewashing over her planned part as Holly Brickley, a character with Jewish and Mexican heritage, in the upcoming movie Deep Cuts. Azayan is Jewish. Online critics argued a Mexican actress should have been cast. Azayan says she hadn't read the book before she accepted the role and thanks fans for bringing it to her attention. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
There's a film reunion of sorts at Navy Pier in Chicago on Monday to celebrate the life and legacy of actor, director, and Washington University graduate Harold Ramis.
Toga. Animal House debuted on the big screen in 1978. A film that followed a rowdy fraternity house and a college dean.
Drop and give me 20.
Actor Mark Metcalf played the iconic role of Doug Niedermeyer. He says the role and Harold Ramis changed his life. Whoa. Metcalf says he and the cast never dreamed that the film would play such a role in comedy history and would launch his movie career with so many others.
We never imagined that it would, people would be talking about it this much, this late, but we all knew from reading the script, and once we began working with each other, we knew we were involved in something that was really special.
Metcalf and his cast members of Animal House will be at Harry Caray's on Monday to celebrate the 3rd annual Harold Ramis Day, who also wrote and directed the film Groundhog Day. Metcalf says the cast last gathered together for the 40th anniversary back in 2018. Lisa Fielding, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
Ramis graduated from Wash U during the mid-60s. He was a ZBT, a member of Zeta Beta Tau fraternity, and worked at a St. Louis mental institution for 7 months before moving back home to Chicago.
It's now 7:26, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
St. Louis has a voice.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history.
Swing and a home run to left. The first major league home run for Albert Pujols.
Among those voices, Dan Deerdorf.
Good football town with a lot of good football fans, and they deserve better than to have both of our teams lead.
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
In times that feel uncertain, music can bring us together. Join the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for Prokofiev and Childs' Anthems of Resilience. Experience a shared journey of hope through Prokofiev's Symphony No. 5, Rena Esmail's Remember, and Billy Child's Diaspora, featuring saxophonist Stephen Banks. February 6th and 7th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
This is Corey from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. There's never a good time for your heating system to stop working. If yours does, no matter what time or day, Air Comfort Service offers 24/7 emergency HVAC service. Contact our award-winning team for 5-star heating service and stay in your comfort zone. For heating and 24/7 emergency service, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation at aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Get this, 42% of baby boomers don't even know how much money they have in their nest egg. If you're not sure where you stand in terms of getting ready for retirement, you should be listening to the All Financial Hour with Steve All.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
Taking care of your health should be simple. And with the Neovitin monthly subscription, it finally is. Choose your doctor-formulated multivitamin and we'll deliver it straight to your door every month. No more running out, no more remembering to reorder, just consistent nutrition made easy. Plus, subscribers save 10% every month and can pause or cancel at any time. Visit neovitin.com and start your subscription today. Neovitin, trusted nutrition every day.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Amy,
yes.
I have a real beef with bathroom doors in hotels. The stupid sliding door. No, give me a fully shut door, because the sliding door, you know what happens? There's always a gap.
There's a gap.
And so if you have a partner with you in the hotel room, there are sounds and smells and steam.
It puts a new meaning to the word butt crack.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is now 7:30, and it looks like a beautiful morning out there. We've got some sunshine in downtown St. Louis, and currently it is 8 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Megan Lynch. Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're getting close to the peak of the rush hour, and right now it's not bad. It started off pretty rough this morning, but we're in better shape now. Northbound 55, just a slowdown from Bayless up to River to Pear. North 270, a little slow. North of Gravois, merging with the traffic coming on at that point, and then the right lanes up north of Manchester toward Clayton Road are a little busy. Northbound 141, there's some volume still north of Manchester. It's slow from about Milldale all the way up to 64, but there's pockets south of there, like I said, in the Manchester area. It's due to the earlier closure of 270. A lot of folks just opted to start their day going that way. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, looks like there's an incident at the airport at Air Flight, just sort of a slowdown coming up the hill from Cypress to that point. Westbound 64, west of Big Bend out to Hanley, a little bit busy. Northbound Ballas is still a mess. Not quite back to Manchester, but pretty close. Just north of Manchester, still a jam all the way up to Clayton Road. On the Illinois side, just a little slowdown westbound 64 on the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update at 7:40 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be just cold, so be prepared for a high today of 19 degrees. We'll see sun and clouds, and overnight it's going to be 3. We could see a few flurries. And then tomorrow, more sun than clouds with a biting cold wind and a high of 21. Right now, it's mostly sunny. That's the good news. It's 8 degrees downtown.
7:31 now. St. Louis County Police investigating a shooting in rural Florissant. It happened around 3:45 this morning in the 15,000 block of Old Jamestown Road. Our news partners at Fox 2 report one person injured.
Currently, we've been operating under our Healthy Home Repair program. We'll be piloting a new program that is going to allow us to scale much more efficiently.
Residents who have not applied for home assistance yet after the May tornado can do that in a few different ways.
Our private property assistance program application is online at app.stlrecovers.com. You can also go in person to our outreach center, our STL Recovers Outreach Center at 4401 Natural Bridge.
Mayor Kara Spencer says the city needs your permission to go on your property. Home repair should start in March, but you have to sign up by February 14th.
The St. Louis Citizen Service Bureau wants to hear if you live in areas of the city that haven't seen a plow since last weekend's snow.
If you live in the Soulard area, it's been cleared. It's down to pavement. There's only snow on the sides of the streets. Cars can still park there, and vehicles can still drive down, actually on both sides of the road. So no problems in the Soulard area. Benton Park appears to be pretty clear as well. The Cherokee District down in South St. Louis appears to have clear streets as well. But there are other areas in South St. Louis, especially Southwest St. Louis, that have not been cleaned as well. You can't see pavement in areas just west of Hampton. Now, they want to know if you still have areas that are covered in snow or that are providing any type of hazard. In South City, Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Amtrak sent out a note overnight that today's passenger rail service between St. Louis and Chicago, specifically the Lincoln Service trains 300 and 302, are canceled. Amtrak will be using buses to get passengers to their destinations. The company blames lingering effects from last weekend's storm and equipment unavailability.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It is 7:33. We've got your Money Minute from Bloomberg coming up next.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's now 7:35, and it's time for your money report, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The iPhone is delivering for Apple, but there are concerns. Revenue during the holiday season trounced Wall Street expectations, driven by strong demand for the new iPhone 17. The iPhone accounts for roughly half of the company's revenue. However, Apple is warning that the rising cost of memory chips could weigh on margins. Plus, the company is also facing concerns about its artificial intelligence push, which is getting an overhaul this year after recent stumbles. The president is preparing to nominate former Federal Reserve Governor Kevin Warsh as the next chair of the central bank. As we wait on that announcement, stock index futures are heading for a lower open. And GameStop is looking to do much more than sell video games and collectibles. The company's CEO is telling the Wall Street Journal he's looking at a major acquisition of a publicly traded firm, likely in the consumer or retail industries. Ryan Cohen has his sights set on a few big companies and plans to approach them soon. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the take care of my family goal. This is the enjoy the life I've built goal. This is the set up a foundation goal. This is Busey, where your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth, through partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Soulard is going to the dogs. Make sure to bring your four-legged friend to the streets of Soulard for the 33rd annual Purina Pet Parade, the world's largest costume pet parade. It all starts at 12th and Allen, Sunday, February 8th at 1 p.m. And KMOX's own Dave Glover will be leading the pack as the parade's Grand Marshal. Sign up today to march in the parade with your dog. The event supports Open Door Animal Sanctuary. For more details, PurinaPetParade.com. Don't miss this annual St. Louis Mardi Gras tradition, sponsored by Purina.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
DQ presents The Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve, plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Swisey menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live. It's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour and complimentary lunch, or to learn more about our upcoming app university that can help enhance your everyday life. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
Rush Hour Sports, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here.
Bernie Miklasz joins Rush Hour Sports tonight at 5 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It is 7:39, and President Trump has announced his selection as the next chair of the Federal Reserve.
President Trump says he'll nominate former Federal Reserve Governor Kevin Warsh to be the next Fed chair. Warsh would replace Jerome Powell when his term expires in May. Trump chose Powell to lead the Fed in 2017, but recently has assailed him for not cutting interest rates quickly enough. Warsh's appointment requires Senate confirmation. On his Truth Social site, Trump writes he has, quote, "No doubt Warsh will go down as one of the great Fed chairmen, maybe the best." Warsh was on the Fed's board from 2006 to 2011. He's a fellow at the right-leaning Hoover Institution and a lecturer at the Stanford Graduate School of Business. Mike Hempen, Washington.
Reacting to the announcement, Bankrate economic analyst Sarah Foster says 2 seats on the Fed's Board of Governors could be opening up, which may change its course on interest rates.
What happens with Fed Governor Lisa Cook's seat, and then whether Fed Chair Jerome Powell stays on as a governor after his term as chair expires. If both of those seats were to open up, it would maybe change some of the conversation about where the committee is heading.
It is 7:40. This is Total Information AM. Let's get you the latest information on the roadways as you head in this morning. Also, the weather as we head into a very cold weekend. Roger Branson, the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I can't see the crash on eastbound 70. It's between Air Flight and Natural Bridge, but I can tell you that the jam is building. In fact, the delays begin approaching Lindbergh on eastbound 70 up to that incident. So again, I can't tell you which lane's blocked, but there is trouble there and it's getting worse. Eastbound 70, other than that, east of Cayenne through TRU 79 is a little heavy. Eastbound 64, that still looks great coming off 61 all the way out of Wentzville, all the way through the Innerbelt. Westbound 64 at the Innerbelt, that's still clear. North 270, just slowdowns approaching Gravois midway to 44 and approaching Manchester midway up to 64. That's the worst of it. Northbound 141 still very busy, especially from like Milldale up to 64. There was a report of a minor crash near Clayton Road earlier. Ballas is finally getting better. It's backed up about midway back from Clayton to Manchester northbound, so about half the jam we had earlier. Northbound 55, Bayless up the river to Pears, heavy. Downtown, we're looking good, just a little slow westbound 64 across the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update is 7:50 from the overhead door company at St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to continue to be cold. Let's get the latest on the forecast with AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg.
Megan, it's frigid this morning, single digits across most of the area with partly sunny skies right now. And we'll see some sunshine a good bit of the day before it clouds up later. High only gets to 19. Watch out for a couple of snow flurries early tonight. Then it clears up late tonight and back down to 3. Some of the outlying areas could be at or below 0 by tomorrow morning. Sunshine, some clouds, another cold day tomorrow, the high 21. Some sun will give way to clouds Sunday, and maybe a little bit of snow or flurries late in the day or early at night. Most of it slides by to the north and east of the city, but something to keep an eye on, the high 29. Behind it, cloud the break for some sun on Monday. We get up to 37. Another system comes through on Tuesday, a chance for some snow, sleet, or even rain in the afternoon with a high in the mid-30s. It's 5 at St. Peter's and in Florissant, partly sunny, and 10 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:42. We've got sports with Brian Feldman coming your way in 3 minutes. Journalist Don Lemon has been arrested. This after he entered a Minnesota church and recorded anti-ICE protesters who disrupted a church service. That protest on January 18th increased tensions between residents and the Trump administration, but it's unclear what charge or charges Lemon is facing.
The arrest came after a magistrate judge last week rejected prosecutors' initial bid to charge the journalist. Lemon was taken into custody by federal agents in Los Angeles, where he had been covering the Grammy Awards. His lawyer says Lemon will, quote, fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court, close quote.
The Congressional Budget Office says President Trump's troop deployments to U.S. cities last year cost nearly $500 million.
The estimate includes the 700 active duty Marines and National Guard members sent to Los Angeles in June, and the subsequent Guard deployments to Washington, D.C., Memphis, Portland, Oregon, and Chicago. The estimate did not include the most recent deployment to New Orleans. Democratic senators had asked the CBO for the estimate. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley said in a statement, the American people deserve to know how much money is being wasted on what he calls Trump's reckless and haphazard deployment of National Guard troops across the country. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Illinois Senator Dick Durbin blasting the FBI raid on an election office in Fulton County, Georgia, calling it the work of a president who refuses to accept reality. Federal agents seized ballots and voting records from the 2020 election this week, a move Trump administration officials say is part of an investigation into fraud. Durbin tells CBS News' Major Garrett that the raid is proof the president is still obsessed with his loss to Joe Biden 6 years ago.
This president is still pressing the case that he didn't lose the election to Joe Biden and he lost. He did not get a majority of the votes. He continues to be haunted by that. And he'll go so far as to confiscate election materials and ballots in the state of Georgia, where he was recorded as asking for the agents there to find 11,000 votes for him. He won't give it up. He's chewing on this like a dog that won't let go of a bone.
When asked if the raid was legal, Durbin just said that with the current Department of Justice, it's no surprise.
Venezuela is privatizing its oil industry.
Less than a month after the brazen seizure of then-President Nicolas Maduro in a U.S. military attack in Venezuela's capital, Venezuela is shaking up its oil industry. At a rally in the capital, Caracas, Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, announced she has signed a law that will open the nation's oil sector to privatization. The move reverses a tenet of the self-proclaimed socialist movement that has ruled the country for more than 2 decades. Lawmakers in the country's National Assembly approved the overhaul earlier in the day. As the bill was being passed, the U.S. Treasury Department officially began to ease sanctions on Venezuelan oil that once crippled the industry. The moves by both governments are paving the way for yet another radical geopolitical and economic shift in Venezuela. I'm Karen Shamas.
Good morning, I'm Brian Feldman filling in for Tom Ackerman. The Blues back in the win column. After losing 5 straight games, they defeat the Panthers 5-4 at Enterprise Center. Jimmy Snuggerud with the game winner late in the third to clinch it. Florida's Matthew Tkachuk actually erased a 2-goal Blues lead by himself in the second. Panthers were down 4-2, but Tkachuk tied it up 4-4 in easily his best game after coming back from injury. The third period largely scoreless until there's about 7 seconds left. That's when Snuggerud lights the lamp and lifts the Blues to victory. After the game, head coach Jim Montgomery on the win.
The effort by our penalty killers was awesome. The response by our fans was awesome. And it gave us life. And then, obviously the power play came through at the end there after a lot of good puck movement. We finally got one shot to go through, and it was a big one by Snuggie.
Just a day off for the Blues before they get the Blue Jackets tomorrow night at home. College hoops make that 10 straight wins for the Illini. 9th-ranked Illinois takes down Washington 75-66 in Champaign. Freshman guard Keaton Wagler scores a game-high 22 on 7 of 13 shooting. Fellow freshman David Mirkovich adds 19, and the Illini improved to 18-3, 9-1 in the Big Ten. Next up, they head on the road to number 5 Nebraska. Should be fun. That matchup Sunday at 3. Tonight, the 21st-ranked St. Louis University Billikens put their unbeaten conference record on the line against Dayton. SLU coming off a tough 3-point win over George Washington earlier this week. The Flyers 14-7, but on a 3-game losing streak. KMOX talked to SLU analyst Earl Austin Jr. last night about what makes this Billikens team so good. And one of the first people he mentions head coach Josh Schertz.
When I was watching the aftermath of Indiana winning that national championship, and they had one of those experts say, Kurt Signetti does three things. The way they evaluate talent, and they develop players, and they foster a winning culture. And I stood up in my bed and go, that sounds like somebody I know, and that's exactly what Josh does.
That's high praise from Earl, comparing Josh Schertz to Kurt Signetti. Tip-off from Chaffetz Arena, 7 o'clock tonight. You can catch the action, as always, right here on KMOX. Then on Saturday, Mizzou hosts Mississippi State in Columbia. The Tigers 14-7 on the year and even 4-4 in SEC play. On to baseball, the winter warm-up over. That means baseball season's just about here. Spring training for the Cardinals begins in just a few weeks, and it'll look awfully different. No Wilson Contreras, no Sonny Gray, no Nolan Arenado. Still TBD on whether Brendan Donovan will be around. But there's still games to be played and games to be won if they can find a way to do it. And that's the job of manager Ollie Marmol, who spoke to KMOX during the winter warm-up. Marmol says it was not easy saying goodbye to those veterans.
These are guys that contributed at a high level, and I enjoyed having around, but we were clear as to what the goal was this offseason and what it was going to look like and how we were going to go about it in order to just allow our young guys to fill some of those spots and get an opportunity. So it was not by surprise, but at the same time, it was good to be able to have a conversation with those guys right after we made the decision. And some of the interactions were really, really good.
Pitchers and catchers report at Jupiter February 10th. With reports at 15 and 45 past the hour, I'm Brian Feldman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball. KMOX.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo January 30th through February 1st at St. Charles Convention Center. Get bonus golf balls and Pro Tour tickets while they last. Presented by Post Dispatch. Shop with Pro-Am Golf. Play Sinclair Lincoln's Long Putt powered by Evolve Putters. The Back 9 Crestwood Simulator. The Battlehawks Chip Shot. And Sip Drinks by Skimmers. Tito's and Four Hands Cannabis at the Golf Expo January 30th through February 1st in St. Charles. Thanks to Gateway Golf Cars, Booth Creek Wagyu, and Amateur Players Tour. Special tickets at stlgolfexpo.com.
Big game, big screen, big energy at Ballpark Village, Sunday, February 8th. Enjoy the big game like you're in the end zone, featuring in-arena touchdown celebrations, band cams, contest VIP packages, and more, hosted by RDJ and DJ Dex. Save up to $10 on tickets with code KMOX. Tickets and event details at stlballparkvillage.com/events. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
7:50. Let's get the latest on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I can see this crash now, Megan, on eastbound 70 east of Air Flight. It's mostly over to the right shoulder, but they have the right lane blocked because it's right up against the roadway there. So with that right lane blocked, eastbound 70 east of Air Flight, we have backed up traffic back through Lindbergh, almost to the Rock Road right now, eastbound 70. In fact, it looks like there may be an incident now at Cypress because there's a little break in the flow there coming through. So still significant delays. Eastbound Highway 70, you've also got slow traffic approaching TR Hughes into 79, a little busy Earth City into 270 after that. Eastbound 64, barely a slowdown coming up the hill to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's just kind of slow again from McKnight to the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Big Bend, and through Spady's a little off the pace. North 270, slow stuff gravelly midway up to 44, Doherty Ferry in pockets up to Ladue. South 270, south of Olive to Ladue is still kind of busy. Ballast continues to improve northbound. Still backed up, not quite midway back to Clayton, but it's still pretty heavy at the north end of it. Northbound 141 south of Clayton up to 64 is pretty heavy. Northbound 55 Bayless up to River to Pear, that's slow as well. And it looks like eastbound 64 past 157, we had a report of a crash off the roadway, some heavy traffic there. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We do have lots of bright sunshine out there right now, but it's not really warming things up much. In fact, it'll just get up to 19 degrees today. Could see a flurry overnight with a low of 3 and then 21 degrees, more sun than clouds tomorrow and a biting wind. Right now, it is mostly sunny, 8 degrees downtown.
The news continues at 7:52. Charges filed in connection with Wednesday's gunfire at a funeral home in Ferguson. St. Louis County prosecutors accused D'Angelo Taylor of Jennings of committing armed criminal action, unlawful possession of an illegal weapon, and unlawful use of a weapon.
Police arrested Taylor at a restaurant near Cotton Branch Mortuary where that shooting took place. They say he had a Glock handgun, which had been altered with a switch to make it semi-automatic. 3 people were wounded by the shots fired. 2 were hit by flying glass, and a third was hit by a car as people tried leaving the scene. All of those injuries are said to be non-life-threatening.
While lawmakers in Jefferson City fight over the future of video lottery terminals and gas stations, Attorney General Catherine Hanaway says the current situation is unsustainable. Hanaway argues that the machines are illegal and that the state's failure to enforce the law so far is creating a public safety hazard. Lawmakers are debating whether to ban or tax the machines.
And whatever they decide, that's fine. We'll just enforce the law. But right now, the law is not being enforced, and that creates a super dangerous situation.
Hanaway says she's prepared to move forward with enforcement actions immediately. That includes seizing the machines.
A Missouri lawmaker wants to increase the amount of time K through 12 students spend in PE.
Physical education, physical activity, physical movement of our bodies ought to be a priority.
Speaking on Total Information AM, Representative Bishop Davidson says there's a body of research demonstrating the benefits of increased physical activity for students.
It improves learning outcomes, right? It improves mental health for our students. Obviously, improves their physical health, also helps with behavioral issues.
Davidson says the idea to mandate a new course for districts the idea is not to mandate that, but instead ask schools to restructure what they already do in the regular school day to ensure kids get much more physical activity.
Former Sangamon County, Illinois Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson has been given a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison for the killing of Sonia Massey. CBS's Jerika Duncan with reaction from the Massey family.
Grateful, devastated, and elated is what the family of 36-year-old Sonia Massey told me they are feeling. Now, what many people remember about this case is that body camera video from July of 2024. It shows Grayson shooting and killing Massey, a mother of 2, in her own home after she called 911 to report a suspected prowler.
Could be a first for the Trump administration with a midnight deadline tonight looming to fund the government or shut it down. Details from CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns.
The president of the United States, Donald Trump, coming to an agreement with Senate Democrats to partially fund the government while also continuing this debate over immigration policy and funding. Here's the deal. The Senate is going to vote on 5 bills that would fund most of the federal government through September while voting for just a 2-week extension for the Department of Homeland Security.
The First Lady gets her close-up at the Trump Kennedy Center. CBS's Deborah Rodriguez has details.
Melania Trump, accompanied by her husband, the president, walked the charcoal carpet at the premiere of her new documentary, Melania.
This is a very special evening. An incredible, historic moment.
Her production company made a $40 million deal with Amazon MGM Studios to produce it, and Amazon spent a reported $75 million to promote it. The director, Rush Hour series Brett Ratner. It was his first film since he was accused of sexual assault and harassment in 2017. He denies the allegations. Some accuse Amazon's Jeff Bezos of using the documentary to curry favor with the president. The movie opens in theaters today. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
It is 7:56, and you are listening to Total Information AM.
Hey, Happy New Year, big boy. Hey, what's up, Izzy? Also known as the Kool-Aid Man. You got any New Year's resolutions?
I got one, Eddie. I've promised myself to spend more time on that toasty, warm, huge, heated outdoor patio of yours. It's nothing like having your coat off, drinking the coldest beer in town with hundreds of your family, friends.
Man, it is a toasted patio, and that's a great resolution. And, thanks for not mentioning things like weight loss and health kick. And those would be hard in Fast Eddie's. It'd be hard to lose any kind of weight or take away from anything when you got the 5-pound Fat Eddie burger, the hot chick on a stick, that big Elwood on a stick, and those succulent peel-and-eat shrimp.
Yeah, I am not losing any weight hanging around your place. I learned it's a lot easier just to make those resolutions simple and fun, buddy.
Man, and that's easy. You're right. That's a great resolution. So make your resolution fun. And head on over to Fast Eddie's Bon Air. You know where to go across that big, beautiful Clark Bridge and come into Alton, Illinois. So like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, we'll see you at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Kool-Aid Man.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Let's see if things are starting to wind down at all on this Friday morning. Roger Brand has more from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, not yet on eastbound 70, Megan. The right lane is still blocked for this crash. Eastbound 70 east of Airflight. Traffic backs up. Stop-and-go pockets just east of the Rock Road. And we also have, it looks like, a minor crash now eastbound 70 midway between Earth City and 270. So that delay goes back almost to the Blanchette Bridge. And it's still a little slow from K headed in through T.R. Hughes and 79. Eastbound 64 from Lindbergh now through the Innerbelt's busy. North 270, the primary delays. Manchester up through to Ladue. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is 7:59, Friday, January the 30th. I'm Debbie Monterrey, and coming up on Total Information AM in the next hour, Patrick Risch will be along to discuss a new Masters of Business in Sports program at Washington University.
CBS congressional reporter Torian Small in at 8:24 to talk about that deal making between the president and Democrats to avert a government shutdown.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Brisk and bitterly cold today with sun and clouds. The day will end cloudy, the high only 19.
In CBS News, President Trump names former Federal Reserve Governor Kevin Warsh as his choice to be the central bank's next chairman. At the tone, it's 8 o'clock in Mid-America and time for CBS News.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump has unveiled his pick to replace Jerome Powell as Federal Reserve Chair. The name, Kevin Warsh, a former Federal Reserve governor.
Warsh has been echoing the president's calls for lower interest rates. Bankrate economic analyst Sarah Foster says if Warsh is confirmed as chair, he would still only be one vote.
He's probably going to need to bring very convincing evidence if he's going to get officials to step off the sidelines.
Foster says current chair Jerome Powell has fought hard to keep the Fed out of politics.
A lot of lawmakers and markets are going to need whoever Trump nominates to really prove to them that he will remain politically independent.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Powell's term expires in May. We've just gotten word the FBI is taking over the investigation into ICU nurse Alex Pretty's shooting death by federal agents in Minneapolis. We've also learned Don Lemon is under arrest after he entered a Minnesota church and recorded anti-ICE protesters who disrupted the service. His attorney says the former CNN host was taken into custody by federal agents in L.A. He was there covering the Grammy Awards. Parts of the Southeast still struggling to recover from last weekend's crippling winter storm are bracing for another. Meteorologist Craig Allen.
Winter weather alerts cover hundreds of miles across the lower mid-Atlantic states, currently from north sections of Georgia into the eastern parts of Tennessee and Kentucky on up into West Virginia. It also includes some midsections of Virginia.
Tens of thousands of people in Mississippi still have no power. The Northeast Electric Power Association's Keith Hayward.
The roads were completely locked up, very, very dangerous. Trees across the roads that we could not get through to even get to some of our customers.
The main border crossing between Gaza and Egypt will reopen Sunday after a 2-year closure. Linda Gradstein reports from Jerusalem.
The reopening of the Rafah border crossing is part of the U.S. brokered ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas in Gaza and comes after Hamas returned the body of the last remaining Israeli hostage. Israel will supervise the exit of Gazans to Egypt remotely, but Palestinians who want to enter Gaza from Egypt will have to be screened by Israel at an Israeli-run checkpoint.
Alpine skiing star Lindsey Vonn has spoken about competing at the ripe young age of 41.
Physically in possibly the best shape I've ever been in, which is fun.
It was no fun today when she crashed in her final downhill race in Switzerland before next week's Winter Olympics in Italy. Vonn was airlifted for medical checks. The CEO of the International Ski and Snowboard Federation says she hurt her left knee. She has a partial implant in her right. This is CBS News.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsor.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 5 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, January 30th. I'm Megan Lynch. St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer expressing concern with the St. Louis Board of Police Commissioners making a tentative agreement with the St. Louis Police Officers Association on pay increases.
Spencer says the Board of Police Commissioners made a decision for the raises without having an estimate of the cost.
One of the critical pieces here that while the police commission is maybe fitting this in their budget, there are resulting and residual massive increases to pension costs, the pay parity with our fire department, and a whole host of other considerations that were completely ignored in this process.
And Spencer says this is putting raises for other city workers in grave jeopardy. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The city's new street department director has been put to the test with the latest large snowfall. And while several side streets and secondary roads still need cleaning, James Jackson says he knows what Mayor Spencer expects.
They placed a large amount of faith in me. We do not make promises that we do not keep. And I have been tremendously pleased with what I have seen from my team. At 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, it's hard to sleep when your people are up.
If you live in the city and your street has not been plowed yet, notify the Citizen Service Bureau. They want to know which areas still need attention. Crews are aware there are several areas still in need of plowing. A Lutheran church official from Illinois has been arrested on a child pornography charge and yesterday appeared in U.S. District Court in St. Louis. KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer reports.
The Reverend Michael W. Moore of Springfield, Illinois, is currently president of the Central Illinois District of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. A news release from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Missouri says the 54-year-old pastor was charged with 1 count of producing child pornography and will be held in jail until trial after waiving his right to a detention hearing. According to the news release, a court-approved search of Moore's home in Springfield allegedly found storage devices that contain videos of 3 juveniles in the bathroom and hidden cameras in a residence Moore used in Vandalia. The FBI St. Louis office and St. Louis County Police investigated the case with the assistance of the FBI office in Springfield and the Vandalia Police Department. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A statement from Lutheran Church Missouri Synod headquarters in Kirkwood says they were shocked and dismayed to learn about the arrest and they will fully cooperate with law enforcement. The city of St. Louis touting a new home repair program that will expedite repairs.
It's going to allow us to scale much more efficiently moving forward. That is already underway, and we should see home repairs starting in March. I'm very excited about that because it will accelerate as we expand our contractor capacity.
The Private Property Assistance Program application is online, or you can go to City Hall in person or call. Mayor Kara Spencer says the city is asking every eligible property owner, family member, neighbor, and community partner to help spread the word and make sure no one misses the opportunity. The deadline to submit an application is February 14th. It's St. Louis-based TV, but it's not filmed in St. Louis.
A new HBO limited series starring Jason Bateman and David Harbour is putting St. Louis in the spotlight, at least in name. DTF St. Louis debuts next month following 3 middle-aged adults whose lives spiral out of control after using a local hookup app.
You introduced him to DTF St. Louis. Your buddy's now dead.
I want to know more.
We always want to know more.
But you won't see any actual St. Louis streets in the background. The entire 7-episode series was shot in Atlanta. Those St. Louis boosters hope that trend will change. With Missouri's new SHOMO Act in effect, the state is offering millions in annual tax credits to lure productions back. The goal is to make it financially viable for the next DTF St. Louis or Ozark to actually spend its budget here in Missouri instead of exporting the work to Georgia. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
From the KMOX Business Desk. If you're dreaming of a tropical paradise but can't get there, the Missouri Botanical Garden might be able to help. The annual orchid show opens tomorrow at the Jack C. Taylor Center's Emerson Conservatory. The garden's vast orchid collection includes more than 5,000 individual plants with nearly 700 different types of orchids from Mediterranean climates from around the world. The orchid show is included with admission and free for members. It's now 8:08. We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
This year, I'm giving my hair salon a total makeover.
Total makeover sounds totally expensive.
We updated our logo and colors, so I needed to print new signage, brochures, business cards, everything.
Everything will not be cheap.
Staples did it all, and I saved $100 on my order.
$100? Trim my whiskers, that's a good deal. For everything your business needs to print, let's go Staples.
That was easy.
Offer valid in-store and online. Ends 1/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10 now. Time for another check of the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news on eastbound 70 around the airport, Megan. They cleared that crash we had at Air Flight. There's just a little slowdown right now, Lindbergh through Cypress, where they had one on the shoulder. It looks like they also cleared the crash or stall, whatever it was. We had eastbound 70 between Earth City and 270. Eastbound 70, though, is slow from the Blanchett to 270, but it was jammed 10 minutes ago. So, again, it's an improvement. Northbound 270 looks pretty good. Just the right lane's a little busy approaching Clayton Road and 64 to Ladue. Eastbound 64, Spady through the Interbelt's busy. South 170 bogs down to the Parkway. Westbound 64, Big Bend to Hanley, just a little heavy traffic there. North 55 looks good from Festus all the way up across River to Pear. Downtown, we're good to go westbound across the bridges. No delays on Illinois interstates currently. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Times of sun and clouds today. Brisk and bitterly cold. The day will end cloudy. The high just 19. Mostly cloudy for a while tonight with a flurry or two. Then some clearing and bitterly cold late tonight, though 3. Tomorrow, sunshine and some clouds. A bitter cold breeze. The high 21. On Sunday, some sun followed by clouds and cold. There is a chance for a little snow or flurry activity around late in the day and early at night, especially north and east of the city. Sunday's high 29. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We have sunny skies right now, but only 8 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. The U.S. sports industry is massive, fueling the economy in multiple ways. That's why Washington University in St. Louis is stepping up its game with a new master's level Business of Sports program. Joining me now, Dr. Patrick Risch, Executive Director of the Business of Sports program at WashU in St. Louis. Thank you so much for being with me this morning.
Thanks, Megan.
Talk about the focus of the program.
Yeah, Megan, the focus is really going to be placing these kids that come to us from all over the country. And right now we've got recruits coming from all directions, East Coast, West Coast, North, South, to find places for them to work in the industry. And they can work for teams, pro or college. They could work for leagues. They could work for consulting firms. They could work for brands like Nike or other consulting agencies. That's one of the benefits, one of the reasons, Megan, we wanted to do this program is we've had an undergraduate program for over a decade, and we've had so much success that I think the alumni and, of course, the leadership at the Olin Business School realized we've got something special here. Let's go ahead and take this to the next level.
Let's talk about the modern sports industry. You mentioned so many things. It's not just agents and TV contracts anymore. How has it changed, maybe in just the last decade?
Well, I think the one area that's really taken off, and these kids amaze me with their talents, is in the social digital media space. Marketing has changed for all companies and all industries, but certainly in the sports industry. So we have people that, some of our alums, they work for companies like Wit Sports, like Fresh Tape Media. Steffi Blank, Jared Kleinstein are two of our alums that work at those companies, and they have hired our undergrads in recent years because these kids are so adept at using social digital media, being creative to help pitch stories. I mean, sports is storytelling. So social digital media has allowed teams and leagues and individual athletes to storytell better than ever before. And this is an area where we can help incoming master students.
How do you see artificial intelligence having an impact in years to come on all aspects of sporting?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because we also have an AI program that's getting started at the master's level at WashU. But, Megan, analytics and AI, they certainly go hand in hand. And so to go back to your prior question, that's another area where the industry has really radically changed is the application of analytics and predictive modeling where AI can come in both on the field and off the field. Off the field, you talk about pricing, corporate partnerships, evaluating fan sentiments, as we did some research at the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. But on the field, it's probably no surprise that here in a baseball town like St. Louis, we have 6 young alums who work across the league for baseball analytics with the Cubs, with the Yankees, with the Pirates. So a lot of these kids coming into the program, they're hoping to also get involved in analytics either on or off the field.
What kind of opportunities do newly formed women's professional leagues give for people that might be going through this program?
I am glad you asked that question because one of the things we hang our hat on is really advocating for women's sports. And because you see a proliferation in the WNBA, you see expansion. At the National Women's Soccer League, you're seeing expansion. More recently, the Professional Women's Hockey League. That's a relatively new league. So all of these leagues are creating franchises. And of course, these franchises have opportunities to work in ticketing, in corporate partnerships, in social digital media, and in analytics. So this is wonderful. And incidentally, 2 other things. We're the only university in America that has an annual Business of Women in Sports webinar series. Our next episode is next week. And what are we celebrating? We're celebrating the launch of the Denver Summit FC, the new expansion team in NWSL. So it's really a fun time to be here. And our alumni base, women and all of the alums of our program, boy, they just want to give back. And I think that's one of the selling points to any of the parents that are listening to this interview, whether you're in St. Louis or you're within the earshot of KMOX, which is a wide reach, the access, the mentorship, the community that we have formed through our undergraduate program, we're going to also have that at the master's level. And it's a great way for kids to get into the industry.
I'm curious if that is something that really is necessary to try to break into the industry in a meaningful way.
I tell you what, there are a lot of people that don't have graduate degrees that get into the sports industry, Megan, but I think the industry has become so competitive. And a lot of these kids that have already committed to our program are kids that come from universities like the Davidson colleges and Wesleyan universities, good schools, but schools that maybe don't have business degrees and they don't have any formal sports training. So for kids like that have a passion for sports, they want to get in, but they're kind of standing outside the door right now because they don't have the access. They don't have the connections. They don't have the network, and they don't have that mentorship. And that's where we come in.
It seems like one of the big challenges for sports franchises right now is that community outreach through broadcasting and streaming. It seems like there's been a lot of upheaval in that part of it. How do you guide these people that are going through your program and how they may have to navigate that scene?
Well, that's a great question. And of course, one of our local alums, Manu Nakis of FanDuel Sportsman West, is going to be teaching our sports media course. First of all, it's educating these students on all the change that's taken place. And you're right, the regional sports network industry has taken a hit, as we all know, in this community and nationally. So educating the students on the evolution of sports media. But, Megan, I got to say, one of the interesting things and the fun things I'm looking forward in this master's program with media in particular is historically some of our undergraduates, they haven't shown as much of an interest getting into places like ESPN or Fox. And I believe that with this new crop of students coming in based on our interviews, we are going to find ways to place these kids. So media is ever evolving, as we said, but I am very confident that we're going to be able to place a lot of these kids in that realm as well.
Dr. Risch, I mentioned this at the very beginning about how sports fuels the economy, but could you give our listeners a sense of really the economic impact in this country and in this community that sports brings?
Well, certainly when you talk globally, the sports industry is in the top 10 in terms of revenue generation globally. When you think of, again, whether it's professional sports, collegiate sports, we've seen the tremendous growth in that. And certainly, Megan, we've seen in this community the impact that the Cardinals, the Blues, City SC have had on basically activity in downtown St. Louis. Upgrading the Enterprise Center, the impact that that's had in our ability just in the last 6 months, hosting the Frozen Four in April, just hosting the Figure Skating Championship. Those championships wouldn't come to St. Louis if there hadn't been these upgrades to Enterprise Center. So the industry globally is one of the top 10 in the world in terms of revenue and dollars spent. And there's no question here in America, and certainly in St. Louis, the sports industry has a major impact both financially, but also aesthetically and intangibly on people's hopes and kind of just having entertainment amenities for us to enjoy throughout the year.
For people listening, maybe they didn't know there was a business of sports program and now they're intrigued by this master's. How do they find more information?
Well, they can do things. They can either Google Masters in Sports Business at WashU and they'll find the website for our program. They can Google my name, Patrick Risch, and I'm more than happy to talk to any parent, any student about our program. We're capping our enrollment at 20 cohort as the first cohort. We're going to have about 20 students starting in the fall of 2026. We're more than halfway to that goal now. So their spaces are selling fast, as they say. So we would welcome any of you to reach out and answer questions regarding what we're doing. Again, access, mentorship, community. We're doing it better, I think, than just about any university out there.
Thank you so much for coming on to talk about it this morning.
Thanks, Megan.
That is Dr. Patrick Risch, Executive Director of the Business of Sports program at WashU in St. Louis. Coming up next, we're going to look at that deal that could avoid a government shutdown. CBS News congressional reporter Torian Small is going to join me in just a moment. First, though, we need to get you an update on your ride into work with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, things continue to improve. This traffic reports a service of financial and tax strategies. If you're on eastbound 70, it's still slow. Let's call it 5th Street into 270 because of a few earlier incidents. That's what's left. Just some slow going there. North 270, the right lane's a little busy approaching the Clayton Road overpass. Eastbound 64, that's still pretty busy from just east of Lindbergh into about Big Bend. South 170, Brentwood to 64, slow. Westbound 64, west of Big Bend to Hanley. The right lanes are a little busy, but otherwise, the rest of these interstates are looking great for you on both sides of the river. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, it looks like we're going to have bitterly cold temperatures throughout the day. We may have a mix of sun and clouds, a high just 19 degrees. Right now we have 6 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing your checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Save more on the brands pros trust at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances and choose from our wide lineup of top brands. Plus, save $100 on a Little Giant 22-foot multi-position ladder. Now just $189. Built for strength, flexibility, and job site versatility. Pros, these savings will only be here for a limited time. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 1/30 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
Welcome back to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. There's an agreement that could avert a partial government shutdown. Let's get the latest on the deal from CBS News congressional reporter Torian Small. Torian, I know you have been covering this closely. What are some of the details of this deal?
Yeah, so this would essentially move forward with most of the appropriation bills. That would be 4 out of the 5. This is also something that President Donald Trump has himself endorsed after his administration played a key role in the negotiations. Typically, we'll see Senate Republican and Democratic leadership talk through the next steps forward, and especially after we saw the failed procedural vote happen yesterday, what ended up happening was the administration seemingly agreeing with Democrats' demands to remove funding for DHS until significant reforms are met. In the interim, they will move forward with funding for the other significant agencies to avert a government shutdown.
Torian, I feel like we are already hearing some rumblings that this is not necessarily a sure thing today, that this will get through the Senate.
Right. I mean, I think the reason why we are talking about this in the past tense is because there has been pushback from Republicans. Senator Lindsey Graham was apparently the biggest holdup on this moving forward yesterday. Although it seems to be a bit unrelated, we're seeing reports that he was miffed by the fact that House Republicans, as part of this package, removed a provision that would allow for Republicans who were targeted in the investigation into the efforts to overturn the 2020 election to sue the federal government. They slipped that in during the last stopgap bill. That upset quite a few House Republicans, saying it had nothing to do with the budget. Now they're looking to reverse that action, which seems to be upsetting Senator Graham.
What do you think the difference was between the last time we had a lengthy government shutdown and this time Democrats being willing to try to negotiate more on this?
Well, I think there is bipartisan concern for the DHS's handling of immigration enforcement. Minnesota has had a huge magnifying glass on it by lawmakers, and we've seen a handful of Republicans not only question Kristi Noem, the head of DHS, but also call for her resignation. Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina is a notable Republican who's saying he absolutely disagrees with how she has been handling it. Considering the fact that 4 Senate Republicans voted against the procedural vote yesterday, and ultimately 5 in Leader Thune, but that was for a procedural move so it can stay on and not fail completely, it's clear that there is bipartisan appetite for reforms, which is why we're seeing most likely a deal happen today.
Could we be back to an impasse, though, over DHS funding in a couple of weeks, when this extension ends?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the biggest question is what Senator Mike Johnson, or not Senator, House Speaker Mike Johnson told our Jennifer Jacobs yesterday. She said he said to her that he believes the One Big Beautiful Bill, that budget reconciliation package that passed down partisan lines last year, provided a significant amount of funding to the department, so he doesn't see, even if an appropriations bill doesn't move forward for DHS, there being any significant interruptions to its policies and procedures. But it's unclear the veracities of his claim, considering this is funding for the next fiscal year. So it would be, I think, a tough sell to say to that department that they don't need more money, considering they had extra funds devoted to them in the One Big Beautiful Bill.
That is CBS News congressional reporter Torian Small. Thank you so much for your time on KMOX this morning.
Thank you.
Make sure you stay with Total Information AM. Coming up with Chris, Amy, and John Hancock and Michael Kelley. The governor, Mike Kehoe, is going to join them around 8:40 this morning up to the top of the hour. So make sure you stay with 104.1 FM KMOX. It's now 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Do you need a change of scenery? I know I do. And we've got a trip plan that is going to do just that. It's a 5-day Arizona adventure with KMOX listeners, and I hope you can join us. This is coming up in September, but you got to act quickly before spots fill up. It's a 5-day trip where we're based in beautiful scenic Flagstaff, and we'll take in the stunning red rocks of Sedona. We'll stand in awe at the Grand Canyon, relax on a cruise of the clear blue waters of Lake Powell. It's going to be the perfect mix of natural beauty, easy adventure, and some unforgettable views. And I'm told this is the best time of year to do it in September with fewer crowds and comfortable temperatures. So join us again. It's 5 days, incredible scenery, and a really nice change of pace. Plus, you don't have to do anything. Everything is going to be planned out for us. It's going to be fantastic. Go to travelwithdebbie.net for all the details and to reserve your spot today. Travelwithdebbie.net or call 800-383-3131 for our 5-day adventure to Arizona, the Grand Canyon, Sedona in September. Travelwithdebbie.net.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part, they accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I dared Archwell Health to keep track of my vitals and my grandkids' names.
I dared Archwell Health to simplify my prescriptions, so Max and I have more time to play. Good boy.
And I dared Archwell Health to be closer than my neighborhood coffee shop. Our members dared us to do more as a primary care provider for adults age 60 and up. So we made it our mission. Visit archwellhealth.com and become a member today. Archwell Health. We dare to care.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
8:30, time for another check of the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they had just had an EMS call out, Megan, for a crash westbound 44 Kings Highway. I don't see any issue there. This traffic report's a service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. What I do see, though, is a crash southbound Kings Highway at the westbound 44 on-ramp, partially blocking the right through lanes blocked there. I'm sure emergency crews will figure that out and get to it pretty quickly. We also have a new crash eastbound 64 near Clayton Warson, back up at Lindbergh, and then it's still slow McKnight into Big Bend, south 170. Brentwood down to 64, still heavy, and eastbound 70 still slow from the Blanchette Bridge into 270 due to some earlier incidents, and there's a little slowdown on northbound 55 passing Bayless as well. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, it's going to be brisk, bitterly cold, a mix of sun and clouds, a high at just 19. Right now, sunny skies, 6 degrees downtown at the Arch.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
I'm Megan Lynch, and you're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I have Julie Smith. She's an author and a constant guest here on KMOX. We love her because she runs down all the media that we consume and helps us really discern it. She's an instructor at Webster University. Julie, one of the things that we have watched closely as you've come on the show is this issue of AI use and how it affects public figures. For example, I remember the story with an actress who's Scarlett Johansson, whose voice was used, by ChatGPT, I think is one of the first models, and she fought back against it. But it's kind of this idea of how do you prove you are who you are and keep yourself and your identity? And apparently there's another actor who has gone to great lengths to try to make sure that AI can't use anything about him.
Matthew McConaughey has trademarked himself. So he's trademarked an image of him staring, an image of him smiling, an image of him talking, and of course, you know the phrase that he's trademarked.
All right.
Yeah, of course. And it's meant to stop AI apps from simulating his appearance or voice or likeness without his permission. So there are already laws in place that say that you can't imply that a celebrity is endorsing your product without their permission. But what's weird now, Megan, is anybody can create like an AI image of someone famous. That's easy, right? You could go to any AI image generator and say, create an image of George Clooney tying my shoes or something. With AI generating images like that, those images can be monetized. So it's not like the likeness is necessarily endorsing a product, but that likeness is helping someone make money. And so it's kind of murky now about where the law is as far as using someone's name, image, and likeness.
So I guess what we'll have to wait and see is if Matthew McConaughey turns around and sues anybody for trademark infringement and where it goes then.
Right. And I also don't know if trademark infringement is an international thing because, so much of internet content originates outside of the US. I think it'd be pretty interesting.
I feel like it kind of leaves the average American in the dust, though, because it's not like celebrities are the only ones that might have their image or their voice or anything like that duped by AI for commercial gain.
Well, what's interesting is that all that voice cloning AI sites need is 15 seconds of your voice to clone your voice. So your voice could easily be cloned, Megan, and used and used to do something else. And so where is your legal protection? And like you said, how do you prove that your voice is actually you? We're like entering this weird phase where it's impossible to tell what is real and meaningful and true.
And I feel like we've been talking about this for at least a decade now, of the fact that laws and regulations just can't keep up with technology at this point.
They cannot keep up with technology. And of course, here in the States, we have the First Amendment. A lot of laws that are being voted on use really vague terms. And I've had school districts say, Julie, can you come and help us with an AI policy? And I always say, okay, but the minute that AI policy comes off the printer, it's going to be outdated. That's the trickiness in all of this. It's moving so quickly. Nobody can really keep up.
All right, Julie, thank you so much.
You bet.
In times that feel uncertain, music can bring us together. Join the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for Prokofiev and Child's Anthems of Resilience. Experience a shared journey of hope through Prokofiev's Symphony No. 5. Rena Esmail's Remember, and Billy Child's Diaspora, featuring saxophonist Stephen Banks. February 6th and 7th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law
This
Attorneys.
is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Wall Street is waiting on a major announcement this morning. Sources are telling us President Trump is preparing to nominate Kevin Warsh to be the next Fed Reserve chair. He was a former Fed governor and has advised the president on economic policy. Stocks are looking at heavy losses this morning. Investors see Warsh as less supportive of deep interest rate cuts compared to others considered. S&P futures are down 69 points, Dow futures falling 440. Yesterday, Microsoft tumbled the most since 2020 on concerns it could take a while for its artificial intelligence investments to pay off. The S&P 500 dropped 9 points. However, the Dow gained 55. And Elon Musk seems to be looking to bring his business empire together. Sources telling us SpaceX is considering a potential merger with Tesla, as well as a separate combination with his artificial intelligence firm xAI. Some investors have pushed for this tie-up. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
St. Louis has a voice.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history.
In afternoon programming for American radio. The program is called At Your Service.
Among those voices, Mike Kelley.
Kaufman at the 11. Kaufman hurdles man at the 5, fighting for the end zone. Touchdown, Missouri!
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
This is Corey from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. There's never a good time for your heating system to stop working. If yours does, no matter what time or day, Air Comfort Service offers 24/7 emergency HVAC service. Contact our award-winning team for 5-star heating service and stay in your comfort zone. For heating and 24/7 emergency service, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation at aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Soulard is going to the dogs. Make sure to bring your four-legged friend to the streets of Soulard for the 33rd annual Purina Pet Parade, the world's largest costume pet parade. It all starts at 12th and Allen, Sunday, February 8th at 1 p.m. And KMOX's own Dave Glover will be leading the pack as the parade's Grand Marshal. Sign up today to march in the parade with your dog. The event supports Open Door Animal Sanctuary. For more details, PurinaPetParade.com. Don't miss this annual St. Louis Mardi Gras tradition, sponsored by Purina.
Discover Meadowview Memory Care in Arnold, a small, secure community on a beautiful campus. Enjoy peace of mind with all our inclusive rates and comfortable private suites. Schedule your tour today at rspseniorliving.com.
Stay with us. Coming up in just a few moments, Hancock and Kelley are going to have Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe on the air here on KMOX. Let's get a check of the roads once more. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, the jam is building. I can't see what's blocking, if it's a stall or a crash, and what lane is blocked, but it's eastbound 64 at the Clayton-Ward, just east of the Clayton-Warson overpass. So eastbound 64 east of Lindbergh, traffic's jammed between Ballas and Spady on eastbound 64. After that, it's just a little slow at Big Bend. South 170 is just a little slow at Brentwood Boulevard. Eastbound 70, still some slow traffic, Earth City into 270. North 270 is cleared out. Northbound 55, Holly Hills, Virginia area, a couple spots where it gets a little busy. And we've got that crash southbound Kings Highway at 44 blocking the right lane right at the westbound 44 on-ramp. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Time for the Friday edition of Hancock and Kelley.
You two belong together.
John Hancock, Michael Kelley on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Good morning and happy Friday, John Hancock.
Happy Friday. We're coming to you from the Billiken Grill here on the campus of St. Louis University.
Yeah, and it is cold out there today. Make sure you're bundled up. And speaking of bundled up, look who came in to visit with us today.
The governor of the state of Missouri, Governor Mike Kehoe. Good morning, Governor.
Hey, it's great to be on with you guys. And the fan club that you have here is really, as I said earlier, undescribable. There they go, all seven of them.
Yeah, they come from inches around just to be with us. So
yeah, great to be on with you guys, and thanks for broadcasting here from St. Louis University.
Yeah, there's nothing like doing a live where college kids are going to show up at 8:30 in the morning. I don't think that's going to happen.
They're not showing.
No.
Yeah.
So not too far from where we sit right now is where Mike Kehoe was born and raised.
Not far at all. Just a little bit north of here, several miles.
For people who don't know what I think is a remarkable story, tell us about Mike Kehoe.
Well, we're from North City, St. Louis. Walnut Park, Baden area. Most people would know that. We're changing. We're involved in the community center. Just as a quick break in Walnut Park with a great group of people through the Urban League. Michael McMillan and his team do a great job. We're rebranding Walnut Park. We're going to call it the WP.
Oh,
nice. Like the Ohio State University.
Yeah, love it.
The WP.
Yeah.
North St. Louis, youngest of six, single mother who is an incredible hero in our life, an unbelievable practicing Christian Catholic, and got all of his kids raised and out of the house. And I don't know how she did it, to be honest with you.
Well, she did. And you and your siblings have all done remarkably well. And here you are as governor of Missouri. When did you consider getting into politics?
My oldest sister tells me I'm the failure of the family, by the way. Really, John, as you know, small business guy, grew up in the Sinclair Ford organization. Mr. Sinclair really gave me every break I ever had in business, and never thought about politics until I met a guy named Matt Blunt. You ever met a guy named Matt
I
Blunt?
knew him
John
well,
Hancock?
yes.
That's also Mike Kelley, where I met John Hancock.
Really?
Yes.
So
I've
he's to
regretted
blame,
it. I mean, I've treasured it ever since. And Governor Blunt, as John knows, asked me to be on the Highway Commission farm, and through that, still being in business, kind of got a glimpse of what politics was about, and really got into public service, John, to promote infrastructure and transportation. I'm still very passionate about how that affects our economy and Missourians' lives, and that's what really got me going.
Yeah, Highway 70, that project, the widening of Highway 70, is that the biggest highway infrastructure program in the state's history?
It's one of the biggest in the nation going on right now, $2.8 billion. We used one-time money appropriately from the federal government through the COVID funds to fund half of that and bonded half of that. It's, Missouri is in the sweet spot of the nation for transportation, logistics, anything you would want to be a business, you would want to be right where we are. And improving I-70, not only for, number one, safety of Missourians and for our traveling guests, but number two, for commerce. That's where our economy is.
Yeah, and our commerce is also driven by our great universities. We're happen to be at one tonight. They have the Blizzard that's taking place here at St. Louis U, Governor. The importance of having such great educational institutions in Missouri help grow that economy as well, and St. Louis U plays a role in that.
They sure do. And the boss of our family, the CEO, is a graduate of St. Louis University.
Is that right? Claudia.
Claudia. Yes, she is. And she's a proud Billiken. And tonight's game is going to be unbelievable. I have a little connection to the Dayton Flyers, which I've thrown away because Coach Schertz is going to do a great job tonight. This team's hotter than garlic. This team's always hotter than garlic, but tonight's game is going to be unbelievable. That place is going to be rocking.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing game. What do they call it? The Blizzard?
Yes.
And
got to wear white.
It's sold out, and the Billikens are favored, I think, by quite a bit tonight. And if they win, they will be.
Oh, he's saying favored by 10. Yeah,
they'll be 21-1 if they win tonight. Is that right? Yeah. Chris May, the athletic director, is with us here in the room.
He's bundled up. They're saving money in this room. They turned the heat off. So they thought a bunch of hot air was coming in, so we could offset that.
So the legislature's in session. You gave your state of the state address earlier this month, and the big priority is eliminating the state income tax. What do you think the prospects are for that thing passing?
Well, John, that's one of the things I ran on as Claudia and I traveled the state with the help of literally thousands of people around the state to get our message out. One of the things we said is there a way to improve our economy to make us more competitive with other states who are using this tool right now to attract business, to grow their population. And that's a piece that we think is very important tool to have in our toolbox. So we've proposed legislation to do that. Speaker John Patterson, the House Speaker, had his hearing this week on his bill. It is a constitutional amendment that would have to go before the vote of the people. So if it makes it out of the House and Senate, we certainly hope it does, because we think it will be a game changer for our economy. Missourians will actually vote on whether they think this is an appropriate measure come November of 26.
Governor, why do you think getting rid of the state income tax will drive population and economy in Missouri?
Well, my belief is simple. I'm certainly not an expert, although we've had tons of experts. We have over 40 nationwide conservative groups have looked at this and said it was good policy. The White House posted a letter just the other day on what this was good policy. To answer your question, Mike, we get about $9 billion a year from Missourians in their income tax. I firmly believe that you and everybody, all the big crowd of people that you have here today, that Missourians can spend that $9 billion. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Missourians can spend that $9 billion better than any elected official, including me. That's not a knock on an elected official. I just think if Missourians have the opportunity to put that money into the economy, buy what they need to buy, pay for their kids' tuition, get a big screen TV, add on to their house, whatever they can do with that money, the ripple effect to our economy, and the economists would agree with this, will be way better than government spending that money.
A lot of people are concerned that this is going to cause the state the state sales tax to grow, which is a regressive tax. It hurts people at the bottom the most. How are you going to answer that concern where folks who are out trying to make ends meet are suddenly going to have higher expenses when they go to the grocery store or to Target?
Well, speaking from somebody whose mother was at the lower end, and myself was at the lower end of that, we'll have some numbers coming out later this week that will show that's not the case. That even if we had to raise, and you do have to replace the revenue stream, we're not just going to cut $9 billion. I know there's a lot of people say just cut $9 billion out of the budget. Well, that's what Kansas did, and it didn't work so well. So we're going to do something that's responsible. So every time the theory would be every time your tax rate comes down over about a 4 or 5 year period, the sales tax could be widened a little bit. Think about the sales tax economy we live in now that was developed in 1935. You don't have a listener who's spent money today or in the last 10 days likely on a product that wasn't around in 1935. So making our tax code up to date for the next 100 years, that means widening what we look at, we collect sales tax on, and then potentially inching it up very small. The constitutional amendment and the state statute will follow. We'll never let the legislature just go crazy and raise sales tax however they want to. It can only be the exact amount to offset the amount of income tax that comes through. We believe somebody take a teacher at a $40,000 a year salary. The initial reports we've looked at, and we'll get this better for people as we move forward, would actually pay a hair more in sales tax, but would save almost double in what she pays or he pays in state income tax. So this argument, because as you know, state sales tax is not collected on food.
Right.
It's not collected on a lot of the things that lower income people buy, on rent, on gasoline for their car. There's not state sales tax on that. So the lower income folks, I would argue, would be even at worst and have an income gain at best.
I would think if you look at the state economy, and tourism is one of our largest industries, that some portion of that sales tax is paid by non-Missourians, right?
Thanks for bringing that up, John, because that's exactly right. Tourism is our second largest industry, brings in about $20 billion a year. Certainly some of our tourism industry is Missouri-based, Missourians who live in Kirksville, who go on vacation to the Lake of the Ozarks. But there's a large percentage of our sales tax that's collected, and we'll have that number where we've got an outside source doing it so it doesn't look like a bunch of bureaucrats. It's a significant amount of our sales tax is paid by non-Missouri residents.
Governor, when you got elected, I was thrilled that we were going to have a St. Louis back in the governor's office. It had been quite some time, and you got 6 million people to represent, but this particular region really makes the state of Missouri go. We've had some tough sledding here as of late. You've taken over the police department, and you're dealing with a lot of the things. What gives you hope for the St. Louis region that we can resurrect it back to what it once was to continue to drive this state?
First of all, St. Louis City residents are on the police board now, so that's good. It's not the Mike Kehoe show, although I'm very passionate about what happens in crime and safety for our citizens. The St. Louis City Police, County Police, they're all great men and ladies who are doing a wonderful job. But to answer your question, Mike, this piece of this 4 or 5 county area represents somewhere between 40 and 44% of our state's GDP. What happens in St. Louis, the ripple effect across the rest of the state is massive. And, sometimes the folks from Kansas City and Springfield don't like hearing that, but they do agree that when St. Louis is doing well, the rest of the state is doing well. And look, it's good for rural Missouri, because if you're in rural Missouri and you want to come to a basketball game, or you need to go to the Siteman Center, you want to come to a safe place with a good economy and a place that you can get the services you need for your family. So this region and its impact on the state is so significant that even the rest of the state says, let's make sure St. Louis is doing good, because we know that's good for us.
Hancock and Kelley with you here on a Friday morning. Chris and Amy will be next. They're going to be live here at St. Louis University. Governor Mike Kehoe joins us today. The second pillar of your State of the State address earlier this month was education reform. Outline what you're proposing there.
Yeah, I'm a fan of all forms of education, whether it's public or private, charters, etc. I just believe parents should have choice. If they're in an area, if they happen to be living in a zip code that's just barely on the side of a boundary line where the school doesn't offer the services those kids need, there needs to be some flexibility. And as a small business person, I believe competition is the best thing for business. I met with the School Superintendents Association this week and said, as we, in our 520-ish public school districts, we have some that are nationally recognized that are absolute rock stars. They're producing great results. Their kids are coming out ready to be prepared for the workforce or the next piece of the education step. However, we have some school districts that don't do as well. And I believe if the pressure is on so that they can compete with their peers, that will be great. We propose an A through F grading system. That is legislation that's also filed that would allow parents to see what their school districts are rated in a very familiar grading scale on the A through F scale.
It's per school, right?
Per school.
Each school, not just the district, but the actual school.
Per school. That's right. And we continue to fund our ESA program, which allows parents to apply for dollars to help send their kids outside.
ESA is
Education Savings Account.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You caught me on that one. And so that's ministered through Treasurer Vivek Malik's office. It's been a very successful program for parents and kids all over the state. So options for parents and kids, I think, are important in education, because we have to lead and not be a follower in what happens.
So what's the best part about being governor?
Being on Hancock and Kelley.
Clearly.
I mean, yeah, that's number one. I've been on with you guys several times.
Yeah.
The best part is always about, John knows, you know me, Mike, for a long time. I'm a people person. The people that you meet, the success stories you meet, sometimes the very tough road for people to get from point A to B, but then they make it. Missourians are resilient. I don't care if you're in the city or the urban, and we meet people every day who have an incredible story that only happens here. And quite frankly, I want that environment to continue to be that way in Missouri, so those successes can happen. But the people is the best part, and meeting those people.
Because I am not a journalist, I'm going to opine here for a moment.
Oh, great!
I don't know that we've ever had. I don't know that we've ever had a governor in this state that brings the unique set of experiences, skills that Governor Mike Kehoe does. Grew up in North St. Louis, out of nothing, with a strong family and a strong faith. Built a business, became the youngest Ford dealer in the country when he took over and opened Mike Kehoe Ford in Jefferson City. And then he bought a farm. And now to this day, in fact, he's going to go feed his cattle this afternoon. He's got a very successful cow-calf operation. So he's got the agriculture, rural life skills, and he certainly knows the life in the urban areas, and he's been a successful small businessman. That's a pretty unique skill set, Governor.
Well, it's one I want other people to have the opportunity to do. I think it is unique to have an elected official who's half of his life lived ish in an urban area and now half in more of a rural area. Both of those groups of people have different priorities, but at this end of the day, they really want to have government out of their life and they want the chance to succeed. I want their chance to succeed. I want there to be more Mike Kehoes out there that have the opportunities. And you and I know a lot of them. We've met a lot through our journeys together. But it's very humbling. And I feel, and Claudia and I both feel, this is our way to give back. Let's try to make sure we have an environment where my kids, my grandkids, your and I grandkids, John and I have a grandkid born on the same day.
Is that right?
Yeah, mine's better. By the way. I really, not to get too deep, I really want those future generations to have the same opportunities because that's what makes this country great.
Well, Governor, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle we're on or what part of the state we live in. We're all rooting for you. We need you to succeed. So best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me on.
That's Governor Mike Kehoe, Chris and Amy, right around the corner on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We're at St. Louis University before the Billikens Blizzard game against Dayton. We'll chat with Robbie Avila, center for the SLU men's basketball team, plus Chris May, SLU athletic director, and Kevin Kalish, SLU men's soccer coach, after the soccer team made it to the Final Four. It all starts at 9 a.m. on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Wesley Financial. AI gives you more time to fix AI. 80% of respondents to a survey from the